work. Okay.
Okay.
I think that will help you early on right now because that's one of your big question marks. So first of all, the very first thing, you read that? And again,
Yeah, leads.
Yes. So the very first thing that we need to control is every single day, you need to wake up with leads in your inbox. Okay. So where do we get those leads? So we're gonna go through. Where do these leads come from? 1, direct mail. 2, cold calling. 3, texting. 4, RVM.
RVM?
Yeah, ringless. It's called ringless voicemail. And there's a lot of other ways that you can bring in leads. Okay, but I'm focusing on, for you, I want you to focus on the app. You could do bandit signs, you can do other stuff, but I mean, I just don't really want you wasting your time with that. Not that bandit signs don't work, because they do. It's just not a business system. Okay, it's not they disappear. You could put them up and an hour later they could be gone. I mean, if you were totally broke, had no cash, we might learn bandit signs, but you're not to that point. You've got the ability to ramp up into a real business really fast. Okay. So we're going to focus on these first 3. We'll throw in some RVMs at a certain time. But so what happens is these leads come in. Okay. So we're going to be laying out, I'm going to have Amanda actually go through some of this with you, but we're going to generate leads by using these techniques here. Then that lead is going to go into a call center. Okay, because for one, you're not going to be able to take all the calls if you do this right. You're going to have calls coming in every single day. Now, the thing is you can hire a virtual assistant to take calls for you, but it's actually cheaper to have a call center do it. So I actually use that. So we use a place called, it used to be called Answer One. Now it's called, I think, Riva. So the call center is going to take calls. They're going in. This is one reason why you absolutely have to have Podio. Is they're going to go into your Podio system and they're going to fill out the lead sheet within Podio. Okay. So you start this process. Now, all of this will be done by a virtual assistant. Okay. This is not you doing this. This is a virtual assistant doing this. Call center takes the lead. Okay. Call center fills out lead sheet in Podio. So you wake up in the morning and you have new leads sitting in your inbox. It's a wonderful.
I don't hate it.
Huh?
I don't hate that. That's a beautiful
thing.
That's
great. So then those leads need sorted. So you don't know if those leads are good leads or bad leads yet. They're just in your
inbox.
Funnel. Yes. So we've got to sort those leads. Now, this is something that you're going to do in the beginning, but you're with the intention of handing this off. So I did this for a long time in my business, but Amanda does all that for me now. So when a lead comes in, we run the same process. Amanda's, I guess you could consider Amanda a virtual assistant. She hasn't worked I mean, I see Amanda maybe once a year. I have her come in town, but she works from her house every single day. So
does Amanda have a friend that can do this for me?
I don't know, maybe, but you won't really need it because like I pay Amanda a lot of money. I mean, she probably
I bet you do.
She probably makes 80 grand a year. You're gonna get this stuff done for way less with a virtual assistant and with me helping you when you have a problem, or Amanda. You're gonna have direct, we're gonna be helping you through this whole thing. So Amanda, every single Monday, Amanda gets a hold of me. Sometimes she does this late in the week, and she'll just say, "Hey, I'm going to send X marketing this week," and I just give her a dollar amount we spend. So she initiates. She does all this. You're going to have a virtual assistant do this. Then the call center takes the calls and the leads, fills out the lead sheet. You now have to sort this. Amanda does this for me. So you will do this in the beginning with the intention of teaching the virtual assistant how to sort. Now, bad leads get kicked out. Bad leads will get kicked out. What's a bad lead? Well, easy numbers. If you get a lead in that is let's easy numbers. I know these numbers aren't accurate for your area, but let's say the house is worth 100 grand. Okay. And the person wants to sell and the house, they owe 95,000. Okay. So the house is worth 100. They owe 95. Is it possible you're going to make any money on that deal? No, because there's not enough room to get it negotiated low enough, right? Even if the person said, yeah, I'll take 50 grand, they can't sell it for that cheap anyway because they have to pay the bank off. So right. Bad leads will get kicked out, and then you'll work on the good leads. And the good leads, I don't know for your area what that numbers are going to look like yet. We don't know. What we're going to have to do is figure out what the buyers, you're going to be building a buyers list, and you're going to have virtual assistants helping you with this as well.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. If I get deals, I got to have people that I can turn them to, and I don't necessarily have that yet. So.
Nope, you don't have it yet, but you got to build it. Just like you don't have any leads yet either. You just got to build it. Yeah. Have you ever heard of a company out there called Keegly?
No, I don't think I have.
So write this down. There's a guy, and I know the guy that owns Keegly, by the way.
Yeah. Is it K-I?
So Keygllee.
Oh, I think I have heard of them.
They're the biggest wholesaler in your area. They are what's called a dispositions wholesaler. Okay, they don't even they don't do any of this. They don't do any of this stuff up here. So see this stuff here, the leads, they don't do any of that. They wait for guys like you. This is what's cool. They wait for guys like you to get leads. You send them their lead, and then they sell it. They're dispositions only. So they only work with wholesalers. They don't want to do any marketing at all. And they sell a month in your area. And you probably need to do two things. One is find.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. You need to do two things. One is get on their mail list, get on their email list. Go in, do a search for Phoenix, for Keegly Phoenix. And fill out the form that you can do that you'll automatically get sent all the deals that they get under contract.
Okay.
The reason I want you to do that is they sell every single house they get. Like they just don't not sell. So here's the thing. These good leads, if you see in Mesa, if they're wholesaling stuff in Mesa, and you're not going to just work in Mesa, you'll probably work in Phoenix and stuff too, right? So as these good leads, if you get a house under contract, or you got a deal where the seller says, hey, I'll take 100 grand, and you notice that Keegley's selling houses like that in that area for 80 grand, what's the chances that after you put this thing under contract, you're going to get it wholesale?
Not very good.
Not very good, right? So you're trying to see what the wholesale market, you've got to discover what the wholesale market is in your area. Do you know Steve Trang?
I think I've heard that name, but I don't know who it is.
He also does quite a bit in your area as well. I actually know a lot of the wholesalers in your area, just through, there's a lot of big players over there that, again, a lot of them don't want to do this in part. They just want to sell the stuff. It just really depends. But Steve Trang, he's in your area too. You need to go through and, you're on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So a couple people you need to follow on Instagram. Let me just give them to you right now. You're going to follow. Let's see here. So look up Steve Trang. If you just search for Steve Trang, he sells education too.
Yeah.
He has a podcast, but he actually does deals. He's a legit dude. But you can wholesale them stuff. You need to look up Max Jimenez. Max is Steve's partner. Max, it's MAXJIMENEZREI. Another good dude. You're going to look up Jamil. Jamil owns Keegley. So his Instagram is JDAMJI.
JDAMJI.
Yeah, it's JDAMJI. Really good dude. He is super nice guy, but he's half owner of Keegley, or a third. The other guy is Josiah. So if you look up it's Josiah _ Grimes, JOSIAH.
That guy's been sending me stuff in my inbox. I have no idea how he got my info.
So he's the other owner of Keegley. He worked for Cody Sperber. You know Cody? You've heard that name?
I think I have, but I don't think I remember him.
Cody's the guy that's always sitting in front of Chase Bank with a check and a Lamborghini. He does.
Of course he is.
Yeah, so he asked me to speak at a couple of his events, and I got to know him a little bit. Doesn't do any deals, but he's got guys that he connects with, like guys like, so Josiah worked for Cody for years, and Cody was doing 30 deals a month. He was not doing any of it. Josiah was doing it all. One day Josiah wakes up and says, man, I'm making this guy all this money and I'm doing all the work. I'm just going to do it on my own. So Josiah, him and Jamil are Keegley, and they do 80 deals a month throughout the nation. So they're legit. Like they're legit dudes. So you're good at sales. So you'll end up figuring out, like, so for me, I do everything. Not only do I do, we're not just in acquisitions or dispositions. We're both. Because I love this piece. I love the whole getting the deal. That's what drives me. Like, I get up in the morning and I love to see what we get under contract. Now, I'm not part of any of it. Amanda has full checkbook control. She decides what we buy. And so she makes decisions without me. I'm not even the final, yes, this is approved. She's 100% does that without me. But it's neat to see my team go through and get a house under contract super cheap, right? And I'm going to go through how I taught. So like Jamil and Max Mendez and Steve Trang, I taught them my lead manager strategy, And none of them done it that way, and they all thought it was better than the way they do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they switched now, because my system is automated. I figured out how to be not part of it. None of those guys did. They were still making all the decisions. And as long as you're one step in a process, you're never going to be free, right? You're always going to be working it. So I figured out a way that I had never heard anybody else do it this way, to have the lead manager piece handled without me. And I'll go through that with you in a minute. So what we don't know is what is a good deal in your area. What's a good deal in Phoenix? What's a good deal in Mesa? What's a good deal in Scottsdale? They're all going to be different. We don't know that. You have to discover that, okay? So we know what bad deals won't work. You know, a good number for you is 75 to 80% of ARV would probably be good enough to wholesale. Now that number could be lower now that coronavirus is an issue. We have to figure that out. So you sort the lead, got the bad leads out, got the good leads. Now, of those good leads, we have to two things. We have to we have to actually get pictures of the property and take it further. So we need to get info and pics of property. So that's an acquisitions job. So for example, let me jump back. So Amanda, I told you that Amanda, we do things a little different than everybody else is in the lead manager. So what happens is this. So a lead comes in, and then Amanda takes a look at that lead and says, hey, that house is worth X, okay? You're going to there's a little sub-process in here that we decide, a quick ARV. Now, Amanda can do it in her sleep, so can I. You have to learn that quick ARV, and we'll talk through that so you're clear on what that is. So Amanda says, hey, this house is worth $100,000. And I think we do like a quick number on determining what the rehab is. Again, I'm going to show you all that stuff. And you have the rehab evaluator sheet too now that we created.
Okay.
But we go through and we create a quick ARV, and Amanda will say, hey, this house is worth $100,000. Seller wants 80. Seller's asking 80, but they owe nothing. Is that a good lead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Why is that a good lead?
Well, it's zero debt. I mean, if you're getting it for 80, and let's say the ARVs maybe 135, 140, someone maybe has to put 20 into it.
The ARV's 100. The seller's asking 80. They owe nothing. Why is that a good lead?
I mean, that's pretty tight margin for me. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Here's why that's a good lead. Because just because they're asking 80 doesn't mean that's what you're going to offer. If they owe nothing on it, you could buy it for $10,000. Yeah. Depends on how good you are. Conversion. Remember what I said in the beginning? Conversion is the key.
Yep.
So I'm just telling you right now, every single seller you run into is going to ask $1 million for a $100,000 property. They all want more than it's worth. Your job is the conversion piece. And luckily, your favorite thing is the sales. Like, that's your unique ability, sales. You're going to be able to, and I'm going to give you a whole bunch of one-liners on how to talk down a property, okay? I've got a million of them, and I'm going to share them with you. But seller's asking 80. It's worth 100. They owe nothing. Amanda, on our situation, Amanda's going to tell my acquisitions person to offer $30,000, okay? That's different than how everybody else does it. So this piece right here, this is done by the acquisitions person. So the difference is, like, other guys are doing what they let when they decide that they're going to get a good lead, their acquisition person decides what they offer. So how do you know, like, if an acquisition person gets a lead and they know that they can wholesale it for 70,000 because they know that there's a buyer that will buy it for 70,000, why would they try to offer 30 on a house that they know that they're going to offer 60, know that they're going to get it really fast, create a $10,000 spread? They're getting paid their commission either way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like leaving all that money on the table, and I don't want to overpay for the property. So I have Amanda decide what the offer price is. Huge difference there. So lead comes in, no equity, bad deal, kill it. Do a quick ARV, you know that it's a good lead. So this acquisitions person, so right here, your lead manager, which is you right now, this lead manager determines offer price. Lead manager determines offer price. You send it, so the acquisitions person is only going to the house now, knowing what they can't offer more than. Now this, just so you know, this can be this kind of works in conjunction with. It's not that this is in front or behind of this. It kind of works in conjunction. So sometimes the acquisition person goes first, gets pictures, verifies what the seller said. Now we have all these pictures, 40 pictures of the property. We know what the property looks like. We know now we can basically skip from going from quick ARV. That got us interested. Now that we have pictures and info, we do, and it still looks good. Now we do full comps and offer. Full comps and offer. We verify what we did over here. Full comps and offer. Again, lead manager decides this, which is you in the beginning. And again, everybody has Zillow now. Zillow's always off, and typically it's high. People will go on Zillow and they'll say, hey, Zillow says my house is worth $1 million, so I want $1 million for it. You know, that's just what it is. So you've got full comps and offer. So offer price. You're going to make offer. So then you'll make the offer to the seller. Now from here, the ratio of your ability to close is, again, it's all in how good you are at negotiating. Again, this is your strong suit, so I'm not worried about it. You have to deliver a tough message. Right now, it's actually easier than it's been in a long time, so your timing's literally perfect. But
hopefully I'm good at it.
Yeah, so you got to deliver a tough message to somebody. And again, if I had to give you an average, I would say that on average, most sellers ask for us are asking $80,000 on a $100,000 property, and we're buying them for 30. That's an average. That's all in a day's work.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's what you have to do. Just laying it out for you. So, but there's a process behind it. I'm going to show you what that is. So you make an offer. Offer will either get offer accepted, offer rejected, or offer countered. Okay. If it's accepted, That will happen on occasion. A lot of times, I'm just going to tell you right now, 75% of the deals we do, 75%. So the majority of the deals we do are in follow-ups, following up. Our offers are so low that people just do not take them on the spot. So don't expect that to happen. It will happen sometimes, but it takes work. So if it gets totally rejected and the guy's like, you're totally out of your mind, don't ever talk to me again, whatever, you can remove them from the list if you need to. If they just say, no, it's just too low, I can't put that together, then you'll send these people into a follow-up sequence. Follow-up sequence. If it gets accepted, now you've got to get it under like you have to actually do the paperwork and get contracts signed. By the way, a lot of these steps are automated with the Podio system you now have.
Okay.
So this follow-up sequence, that's not something that you have to write down on your calendar. Hey, I got to follow up with this guy and call him in 2 weeks. It's automatically done in Podio. We built that out. We programmed that in, so it follows up automatically. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
And it'll keep following up. It'll just keep following up. If it gets accepted and you have to do contracts, you can do the contracts with the push of a button, filling them out electronically. They can even sign electronically, all through Podio. So if it's countered, you have to decide once they counter you how much you want to counter back, or if something you can put together. These are the deals that get me. So obviously I love getting offers accepted. That's awesome. But these deals here, that's a step in the right direction. Somebody counters me, it's telling me that they are serious about selling. They've got interest, they need to sell, but we just couldn't come together. So typically I will, you've got a couple choices when you're countering. If somebody counters you, you can accept the counter, you can make another counter to the counter, or you can stay. Typically, I'm very, very, especially right now, I typically will not move up much. I make an offer. Here's my offer. If I had made an offer for 30,000 and somebody countered me at 31, I'd probably take it, right? But I'm not going to move up from if they want 80, I offer 30, and then they counter me at 60. I'm not going to make a move on that property. I'm going to come back at 32,000. I'm going to stay very close to my price. So again, if we need to set up a sequence, that's easy. That's all done through a follow-up for Podio. So once you get the contract signed and you're good, now this is when you need to get your buyer. You got to find your buyer. Now you're not going to wait until this time to build your buyers list. You're going to you're going to start working on that right away. Okay. But now you'll have that pool already built that you can send deals to. Okay. So you got to find your buyer, and you've got to sell the deal, sign contracts. Well, and sign. Now it's a little tricky right now. You got to make sure you have really good pictures. Sellers don't really want you to be in their house, and you've got to get buyers that can move on the property without, typically one of the keys to this right now is these offers that you're getting accepted. You want these to be, if they're vacant, it's 100 times easier. If the house is occupied, it's a nightmare right now. I would really focus on vacant homes. Now, you're not always going to have that perfect scenario, and if you find the right buyers, they don't care. But if you can make life easy or hard, vacant homes are the easiest thing because nobody wants you in their house right now with the whole coronavirus thing. And if you've got tenants in there, the tenants don't want you in there either.
Yeah.
So you found the buyer, you've got the contract, you've got it sold, and you sign. Now you go to get all the paperwork to the title company. The title company does their thing. with getting the title ready to go, making sure it's clear, setting up the transaction, and then close and get paid. Now let's back up. So again, I'm not involved in any of these steps. I've got somebody else that does them all. You're going to be involved in a lot of these until you train other people. So for example, the contracts, Amanda sends all of my, so Amanda's job, not only is she the lead manager, but she's the transaction coordinator as well. So again, this is something that you can train a virtual assistant to do. You're just going to have to be involved in the beginning, make sure it's done right. But the contracts she will send to so the acquisition guy makes the offer. The offer gets accepted. Once that offer is accepted, Amanda will send the seller the contracts for them to sign, and then we'll sign. And then when we find our buyer, this is you for now. You're finding the buyer until you get a dispositions person. Once you find a buyer, now the transaction coordinator, which again I have Amanda doing it for me, she would send the new buyer the contracts for them to sign. Okay. And then once she has those contracts, she sends those to the title company so that they can start doing their thing. So for you, that'll be you in the beginning until you get a virtual assistant pushed into that. Okay.
How far down the road do I want to do that?
What's that?
How far down the road should I be doing that? Should I be doing it sooner rather than later? I just need to learn the process of it all so I can train it.
I would do the first couple of deals yourself, so you really understand the ins and outs, and then after you've done a couple, I would start training somebody to get it done. I think, let me see here. I think I have this all laid out in virtually unemployed. Let's see here. Unemployed.
I'll pull it up real quick. All right, I got it up.
Okay, so if you go, let's see, go to page 132.
And for the acquisitions and transaction coordinator, obviously those are all local, right?
Well, your transaction coordinator, that doesn't have to be local. You can have a virtual assistant do that once they're ready.
Okay.
I think mine actually might be different pages than yours. I'm seeing here. Hang on a second here. Let me see.
Yeah. 132 is working seller leads and transaction coordination.
Yes. Here we go. So basically, if you look at, I'm going to have to pull up my, so I'm looking at the same pages as what you are. Basically in this book, we have it lined up where you can basically take our transaction coordination process and plug in your virtual assistant into that.
So just hand it over to them. They know what to do.
Yeah. Now so here's the little twist though. Every single title company, different states have different rules. You might have a few steps that are a little bit different. That's why I want you to do the first couple, because you might find that one of the steps that we don't have to do, you guys have to do, and it could be missing. So that's one thing that you need to verify first. But just so you know, again, transaction coordination that person does not have to be on at the property or even in the same state. Amanda does all of ours, and she handles everything from Arizona, in Illinois, and Iowa.
Okay.
So very, very easy to push on to somebody else. So title company, you should be using. I'll give you the person. You'll want to call. You're going to call Magnus. Let me make sure I'm. Magnus. You're going to use Magnus Title Agency is who you'll use out there.
Okay.
And use the gal that you'll get a hold of out there is her name's Brandy Weber, but they'll do all the assignments, of contract, double closing, everything.
Okay.
So that piece is handled for you. You'll just want to contact them. And again, this is something these guys. So all the big players use Magnus. I think Josiah uses them, and Jamil. I think Steve Trang uses them. I mean, all the big players use them. Pace Morby uses them out there too. He does a lot of deals. I got a buddy. Do you know Eric Sage?
No.
Eric, a buddy of mine. He does a lot of deals out there as well. Again, you just have to. You really need to. As you get into this, you're going to have to. Relationships is everything. Once you build relationships with some of these big buyers, selling properties becomes very, very quick and easy. And who you sell to determines on your level of easiness. So like I'm real big on if I got a buyer here, and this buyer will give me $80,000 for this house, and I got a buyer over here that does a lot of deals, and they're at $78,000. I'll take the $2,000 less to work with somebody that's I know for sure is going to close, and it's going to be easy. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Would these guys be interested in buying if I have deals?
What's that?
You're saying these guys could potentially be interested if I have deals that kind of meet their qualifications.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. 100%. A real buyer. I mean, everybody wants to work with who they like. You'll be good at building relationships. It's one of your strong points of sales. So as long as you meet them and like them, you don't even have to meet them in person. I can help you make introductions too. But you may not get top dollar as much as what you would if I was out there. In your case, I'm doing the deals I know will close. When I sell something, because one of the biggest frustrations you'll see as a wholesaler is people that don't close. You'll get all the way to the closing, the day the closing is supposed to happen, and they don't close. That's one of the biggest frustrations. So I like working with reputable people that actually close.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if it means make a little less. So a lot of people, like in here in Iowa, where I do deals, I buy from other wholesalers all the time, and those wholesalers know when they sell me a deal, they're not going to make as much as if they sell to somebody else, but they know I'll close. So for them, it's worth it. They just don't have any worries, no headaches. It's going to happen.
Yeah. For them, it's volume based, so they don't care.
Not if they're looking at it because they know that I can buy an unlimited amount. So it's just like, okay, I'll just make it up in volume.
Yep.
Hey, let's take about a 10-minute break. I want to hit the restroom and all that. So I'll be right back in 5-10 minutes.
Cool. You're warm. And I've been freezing. I had to turn the air off for the.
I had a bad dream.
Oh, sorry.
Cold?
Give you enough time for that?
Yep.
Cool. See that coffee's running through you.
This is water.
Oh, good for you, man. You're a better man than I.
I drink coffee in the morning when I first get up.
I have to.
But I get up really early. I got up this morning at like 3:30.
Oh wow, yeah.
I'm an early
really
riser.
early.
So okay, so what? So is it 11:30 there? It'd be 11:30.
Yep, it is.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so looking back here, what questions do you have on this process so far?
Well, I mean,
anything stand out to you that you want a little more detail at this point?
well, you've given me some good hints on finding some buyers. Like I need to learn how to market for them, find additional buyers. So in the event that, the guys that you create an introduction with, the reality is they probably don't see a lot of value there because I'm new at it.
Mm-hmm.
And, for them, someone at that level to want to do business with someone that's kind of getting their feet wet, typically those kind of people are just kind of like, no, I don't think so. And so,
Yeah, that could be.
And who knows? I mean, maybe if I can bring stuff to the table, I mean, and it's good enough, nobody's going to say no to that. Nobody will turn a blind eye to money.
No.
So, I mean, all of it will be somewhat foreign to me starting over doing everything on my own. So I think short of going through it, quite frankly, I'm not sure if I know what questions to be asking on that. If that makes sense.
Does that create some clarity though? Does that help create some clarity?
Yeah, I mean, I love the systematic approach you have for the deal flow. That you're hands off on lead gen. You've got VAs sifting deals. I mean, in the beginning, I'm hands on through the process of negotiation, going to the house, taking the pictures, those kind of items, which is fine. I need to learn that anyways, and going through the negotiation process and eventually being able to vet that out and send it out to other people to do. And so I think it's just going to take me getting out there and doing it to really understand it and falling flat on my face to get it.
It's one of those things where this is one of the reasons why I'm very, very big on people that sell education, but they're not doing any deals. Like I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because somebody explaining how to do deals cannot explain how to do deals to the degree in which it takes to learn it if they're not actually doing it. They're missing too many small pieces, right? So let's see, just looking through this, just trying to think what will I may have Amanda. Now all of this is so of the lead gen piece, all the lead gen. Let's go. So let's jump back over to virtually unemployed real quick.
Okay.
I want to make sure. I don't want to go through every chapter, but I just want to make sure that you know what's in here. So first of all, if you go, finding the virtual assistants, we'll probably this afternoon, sometime after lunch, we'll probably have you place an ad and actually get that process started. Let me write this down because I think we'll do that today. Because I want you to get a VA like now, very quickly. The cool thing is, another cool thing that this coronavirus has done is it's a lot of virtual assistants lost their jobs. So there's people out there that are looking for work, and it's just this great opportunity to pick up really high talented people that that are already trained. They may not know my specific process, but they know real estate. So plugging them into a process is very easy. But like for example, if you go to chapter 2, how to find and hire virtual assistants through Upwork. So we use Upwork for anybody that you're going to have do repetitive tasks. If they're going to be a virtual assistant that you're going to have working all the time, you'll go through Upwork. So
sorry to interrupt you, but one thing on the virtual, should I be hiring them full time?
You'll hire them. You'll start out with them part time, okay. And then with the ability to give them more hours, more all the time. I'm going to text Amanda real quick and see if she can. I didn't even tell her that I was doing, this training with you.
That's awesome that she lives here in Phoenix area.
Yeah.
In terms of part-time, how many hours should I
would say 20 hours.
And what's a typical rate for them?
$3 to $6 an hour.
Okay.
I'm just texting her.
It's pretty cheap, $60 a week.
Well, yeah. So if somebody's making, depending on where you're at with them, if they're working 20 hours and you pay them $6 an hour, it would be, what is that? 6 times to $120.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And I'm telling you, you will be blown away at how good some of these people are. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one thing I was nervous about. How am I going to train someone that, I'm not fully trained on a particular item, but the fact that you've got it laid out, it looks like, from the looks of this, I can just send this to them and have them do it. Is that about right?
Yeah. You'll have again, depending on the process, anything that's specific location for you, you'll have to tweak a little bit. But if it's a process like pulling a list and all that, it's just follow the process, follow the steps. I'm going to try to add, so I'm going to add Amanda. So Amanda, I'll just give you a quick. Amanda she's a workhorse. She just had twins.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, and she had it was kind of a tough situation because she had them 3 months early. So she's back and forth to the hospital because her babies are still in the hospital.
Yeah.
And she is, so she's kind of working just part-time for me right now. But she gets more done in part-time than most people would do in full-time. So let me see if I can figure out how to add her. There we go, invite.
Sweet. Well, I've got a pair of Aggie check for $1,200, so. Did you get the email from her? Oh, trust me and you, so.
Okay, I just sent her an invite.
Okay.
Let's see, this is my first time ever messing with Zoom, so I'm kind of
I've
learning
never
it.
done it for myself. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to figure it out. You there?
Your guys up with Brett and Michelle fucking us, plus me. Brett and Michelle, they're not getting the fuck out. Because I paid their fucking rent last month, so. And now we get fucking stuff with this too. All because they fucking lied to get their shit out. I'm not cleaning the fucking dirty shit. I'm not doing this other shit. They're fucked. Yeah. Right. You offline for a minute?
It just froze out for some reason.
All right, there you are.
Back with you. Yeah, I don't know how.
What? I lost my internet. Crazy. So I just used my
Really,
phone.
once you said that, I was worried that it was mine. I just checked it. It's working.
I just I'm gonna try to add Amanda. Here we go. But yeah, it was weird. I looked up my internet after you said everything froze, and mine was here, I'm gonna mute Amanda. Amanda, are you there? Can you?
Hi. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
Amanda. Hey, so I have Brian on this. Can you see us, Amanda?
I can see, yeah.
Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown. Sorry I didn't give you any heads up. You know how I operate. So Brian is he's only about an hour from you. That's why I asked you how close you are to Mesa.
Oh, okay.
So he is learning. We're doing a one-on-one, and he's learning. He's going to be basically trying to duplicate everything that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went through. I've spent a few hours with him this morning, and we're going to hire. A couple things are going to happen later today. One is we are going to start helping him hire a virtual assistant. Just to help, so he can help do some of the, I'll probably start, the virtual assistant will probably start out with just the lead gen stuff. So what I wanted you to take a minute and help him do a couple things. One is, can you go through the step-by-step process? We don't actually have to do this right now, but I just want you to go through the process, through our process of doing direct mail and how we pull the list, and then how we actually send the direct mail. And then I want to go through how to skip trace a list. So like when we cold call.
Okay, yeah. Is there any specific sites you want to use, or just the ones that we're using at the moment? So like pulling lists, we have a couple of places we pull lists, but right now we're using exact data.
I would just go through the exact data list and
Okay.
then the mail piece that that works the best for us. So I don't know, have you ever used Zoom much? Because you should be able to, he should be able to see. Can you do a screen share?
I don't know. I don't see how to do it on
So,
here.
so if you go down and there's a little green share button,
Oh yeah, yeah,
you should be able to pull up your screen.
yeah, yeah. I can put some stuff. I'd like to get it together before I do that, so I'm not just fumbling
Okay.
on
Yeah.
everything.
Sorry, I didn't give you any. So why don't you? So I can spend. We can go. We can. How much time do you think you need for setting up for doing, pulling the list, how to send the mail, and then skip tracing and all that.
Well, so pulling the list is just an email we send. So I mean, I could screen share that, just like a, show like what an email that I sent was to
Okay.
Joanne, but we don't really have to go through the process of pulling the list because she does it all for us.
That's pretty
Direct
nice.
mail, that would be a good one for screen share or
Okay.
video. Skip
Okay.
tracing, we could do that too, using like data finder.
Mm-hmm.
So
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. So how much time do you need to set that up?
Just a couple of minutes maybe. I just need to find like a list that I can use and then get all the sites like logged in and set up and everything. So
Okay.
probably 10 minutes maybe.
Okay, and then what about Amanda? Should we go through though? Just because exact data makes it so easy, I would like to actually could you use exact data to show? Because so Brian, exact data, exactdata.com is our favorite. It's our favorite list company. We get the highest response rate of any of the lists we use. So we use 3 different main lists. We use exactdata.com, we use listability.com, and we use listsource.com. But Amanda, we're not using listsource much anymore, are we?
For like multi-families and stuff, we haven't used it in a while, but we do still use it. Exact data is a little pricier than the other ones, but they do the vacant lists, which we can't really get on ListSource or Listability. We do absentee owners mostly on those.
You know what, Brian? I just want to I'm going to make this super simple for you because I want you to focus on vacant houses anyway. And exact data is our best list. So let's just have you, I don't want you pulling so just, I'm buying 20, 30 houses a month. So because of that, we're hitting all these different lists and just tons and tons of volume. Starting out, I don't want you to do that anyway. You won't be able to process the leads. So let's just work on I just want you to learn one thing on the list side. So we'll just do exact data only. Okay.
Yeah. And I just want to also throw out there that they do have a minimum I think it's like $860. So if that's too,
what is it?
To buy a list through them. So maybe if that's too high, we're due for a list anyway. Maybe she can
but what? I couldn't hear you, Amanda. What, you kind of went muffled on me. What's the minimum?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so they have a list minimum of $860. So I was gonna say if that's too high, we're due for a list anyway, and we can always combine. You know what I mean?
Well, he's gonna need, because how many records does that buy?
I'll have to look again, but I think it's a really good amount of
Yeah.
I want to say it's definitely over 2,000 or so. But
Yeah, he's gonna need to send. I would just have him walk through what it is for so what it is, Brian. If you go too small on your list, it's like I think I'd compare it to if you don't send enough. So our average response rate's about 3.1, 3.2% with exact data. So just quick math for you. If you sent out 500 postcards, okay, 500 postcards on a 3% response is going to get you 15 leads. Okay, that may not be enough to do a deal. So you actually have to do a little bit of volume anyway. So to send these. So Amanda, out of this $800 and something that he would spend for these leads, we hit those leads like 6 or 7 times, right?
Yeah, and we do a lot of different things. We do the direct mail, the cold calling, texting. So we use the list a lot.
Yeah. So you're not going to just, Brian, you're not going to just use this list one time. It's going to last you a long time. So I say, it's well worth your time and money to spend the money to do it right up out of the gate. And what's that?
So we'll do that.
Okay. So Amanda, he'll actually, if you want to help him walk through him paying for it and the whole process with her, maybe send an email with you on it, but he's going to be the one that'll pay for it with the gal from Exact Data.
Yeah, an introduction email or something.
Yeah. That way we can start. I want to get him some lead. I want to get leads coming in here fairly quickly. So
you want to do that after we have a lunch break, so you have some time to put some things together?
Yeah. What time do you want to do lunch?
We could do it now if you want. It's pretty close to now.
Let's do that.
Work for you.
So that'll give Amanda. Amanda, what time do you have to head to the hospital?
Yeah, so about an hour. So I don't know how long y'all want to do lunch. I can always do like a video too, or a Zoom call. If it's before we leave. But I can go through it. I just don't know if it's gonna be like one of those things that's kind of hard to like get.
How much time do you need, Amanda, to go through the list, the skip tracing, and everything? This direct mail.
I mean, if a video is easier for you that you could send, then I'm okay with that. I mean, just whatever's more functional for you.
I don't think it takes that long to go through it. So, in fact, let me see if I can pull up. Yeah, I mean, I could go through it pretty quick. I just don't know how much time you guys want to spend like talking about it and stuff, but actually going through it doesn't take very long.
I would say it's almost noon where you guys are at. I would say, Amanda, if you can let's do this, because I want to catch you before you take off to the hospital. Brian, you guys think you could maybe work for like, half an hour or so and have her go through this stuff before we take lunch?
Yeah, for sure.
So Amanda, do you need a few minutes to get it ready and then jump in it? Because I'd rather you go through it now and then, you're done with that part of it for the day. And then we can always have you come back tomorrow morning and jump into it, answer questions and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually pulling it up right now, trying to see if I can get it ready. So when do you want me to do this? Just get it ready right now?
Yeah, Okay. And then we can always, so just so you know, Amanda, I haven't told you this yet, but we're going to do videos for a lot of this stuff. And some of this stuff you already have done videos for, but we're going to do videos for a lot of this stuff anyway. But Brian, just so you know, like we're here for you. It doesn't matter if it's in a week from now, if something comes up and you're like, hey man, I need some help, we'll get on the phone or do a Zoom and whatever and help you. So it's not like, all the one-on-ones I used to do for Dean in the years past, basically I would show up, I would be there for 2 or 3 days and I left and I never talked to the people again. And the hard part with that is you always, luckily I had a lot of people that became very, very successful and I found out about them later. They'd find me somehow and just say, hey man, ever since you trained me, this and this has happened. It's been amazing. But a lot of times I just always felt bad because that's the way it was supposed to be. I'm supposed to leave, never talk to them again. Their back office stuff will handle it. That's just not how I do this now. I just want to make sure that I want you to be successful. So
me too, and I appreciate that.
If you need me for something, man, we're going to jump on the phone and I'm going to help you work through it. In fact, I want you to, I don't want you to struggle with this. These one-on-ones are awesome, but you can only learn the human brain comprehends a lot, but it can't comprehend everything in 48 hours,
Yeah, there's no doubt.
So you're going to have questions and you're going to have scenarios that we need to run through. And so sometimes I can fix a lot in 5 or 10 minutes, that takes no time out of my day and it gets Perfect. You through. So don't even stress about that type of thing. So,
okay.
So yeah. So if we go through, before Amanda takes off, if we go through, the whole pulling the list. Exact Data makes it easy. If you go through list source or listability, you actually have to follow quite a few screens. Exact Data is very customer oriented. You just send them an email and they send you what you want. But the Exact Data list has vacants, which are really important because right now with the coronavirus, nobody wants you in their house anyway. So we want to target those houses. But she'll show you that person that we want to pull the vacants with. You have to actually talk to a specific person in Exact Data. If you didn't go through this training with me, you call up Exact Data and say, hey, I want your vacant list. They'll say that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
They'll
we had
say,
somebody do
"You don't
that.
have
actually.
Huh?
Oh,
Yeah, I said we had someone do that tried to just contact Exact Data on their own and came back to us and like they said that they don't have this, and so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
on the website now, so should I hang tight on filling anything out there?
yeah, you have to go through a specific person.
I got you. Yep.
Yeah. So otherwise they'll tell you that list doesn't exist.
Got it.
It's crazy. This is years of us working together with Exact Data and all that. So
Awesome, man.
Okay, so do you want me to screen share? Or you guys
yeah,
ready?
just go ahead and pop in there if you're ready.
Okay.
And just so you know, Brian, is, I don't stand a chance against Amanda on pulling lists and skip tracing. She could do more in 30 minutes than I could do all day because she does this for me all the time. And you're going to be the same way. Like you'll get to the point where whoever virtual assistant you train, they're going to be way faster than you are because this isn't your unique ability. You don't like techie stuff, right? That's one of the things you said
Exactly.
you don't like. This is simply for your to learn the ins and outs of it. But in reality, you're probably never going to do this. Okay, you're going to have somebody else do it. So
Good,
hey, Amanda, real quick, in the virtually unemployed that we built, this whole process is already in there. If he hires a virtual assistant, they can just follow the process we already laid out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Amanda, another quick question I want you to answer before you take off. I'm going to help Brian this afternoon get the whole process started for finding a virtual assistant. That whole process is in the book as well, right? We've got that laid out step by step. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, do your thing.
All right, so this is the first one. It's just how to get the list. So with Exact Data, like we were saying, we have the representative that we go through, and she actually does everything for us. So instead of going to the website and putting in the criteria, we just send her an email, and she responds like usually the same day with the list quote. So she'll tell you how much it is, how many leads she got, and then you can decide if you want to purchase or you can purchase part of the list and that sort of thing. So I have the email typed up. I just need the city. So if you're looking for, I don't know if you're looking for Phoenix or Mesa or.
Yeah, probably Mesa.
Mesa?
Yeah.
We're probably going to get a lot of leads, so we can narrow it down a little when she sends us what.
Yeah, it's a pretty big area, and everybody wants to be in the East Valley, and most people don't want to be in Phoenix. So.
Yeah. All right, and then can
As
I
you
just get
know,
your
since
email?
you live here. What's
and then
that?
Can I get your email address?
Yes, B as in boy, T as in Tom, W as in witch, I as in igloo, T as in Tom, C as in cat, H as in hat, the number 2 at gmail.com.
And his name is spelled Brian too.
It's BRY actually.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess change my
Actually, I actually had it the other way too. But yeah. Okay, so this looks good. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send that, and we'll get a response here in a little bit so we can check that out when she gets back to us. Now, so that's all we do for the list. Pretty simple. And then what happens is after you actually purchase the list, what happens is she'll send you an invoice, you pay, and then she'll send you the list, or you'll get an online account that you can go and log in. So that way you can also pull any of your past lists, see your invoices, anything like that too.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are for skip tracing. You can see we have a lot of files already. So I'm just going to take one of these downloaded files.
And that's just datafinder.com.
Oh yeah, so datafinder.com. And it's a free account, so you just log in. And then when you actually purchase data, that's when you'll pay. So you'll start by going to consumer append over here on the left-hand side. And you'll see we have available credits. There's 2 ways that you can purchase, and I'll show you those when we get there. Either in dollars or in credits, which you'll purchase with dollars. But basically what it is if you have credits, there's a minimum of a $99 purchase on here, but if you have credits, you can skip trace like 50 names and only use a certain amount of credits. So it ends up being better that way than paying just each list in dollars. So that's why we do the credits.
So they just charge your card for X amount of credits, and then
Yeah,
you're not having to buy the minimum. That's sharp. I like that.
exactly. Okay, so consumer append, this is where you start, and you just start a new one. And then you select your list. So I'm just going to see if I can use the list I just downloaded. Oh, you know what? I might need a different list. So I don't think that one has. Let's see. All right, so it'll say how many you've imported, continue. And then here's the input. So whatever you have on your list, usually you'll have like the address and the first and the last name at least. So you'll want to check those because that's what they'll actually check against to find the phone number.
Okay.
And then we leave it as household level match. It gets a bigger response rate than just individuals. So if it finds maybe the address but not the first and last name, because it's under a different person's name that lives in the house type of thing, it'll still match it to a phone number. That's why we leave it for household. And then whatever information you're trying to find. So if you're looking for email, you would check that. We usually just do phone number. Sometimes we'll do email, but it's not super accurate using emails on here.
With email.
Yeah, you won't need to email this, the phone number piece.
Yeah, so you would check consumer contact information, phone number, and it tells you what it thinks it'll be already, 71% match it. And then I don't check any of this other stuff, but you could if you wanted, like social media, demographics. We don't usually use any of this stuff.
Okay.
So once you check that, you just continue on, and then it'll match the different columns. So you'll just click down and match like first name to owner, first name, and do this for each column. And then you can leave any of the ones that you don't want to use. So we don't need to match anything else. And then
Perfect.
So hey, hey Amanda, real quick.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, Brian. So when you're doing direct mail, you don't need to do the skip trace piece. Okay. The direct mail is just super simple. The postcard, and you pull the list and you send it. This is for cold calling. So when you cold call, you have to have that person's number. Okay. And for texting, we use Sherpa, right, Amanda?
Right.
So this process here is just for cold calling only. You don't need to do it if in a year from now you discovered that direct mail worked the best for you and that's where you got the most of your leads and your cost per lead was less, then you won't even do this part.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I want to do both to begin with, right?
We're gonna do one is I want you to learn everything. Data Finder is really cheap anyway. But I want we're going to get a virtual assistant to help you with cold calling. You're not going to probably do much of that yourself, but cold calling in your area will work really well. So I want you to do that too. Go ahead, Amanda. Thanks.
Okay, so you saw that it was processing, and now that it's finished, it tells you what the match rate is and then the price, but you can actually view the match report. And here it'll give you some more information. So then you can decide if you want to buy it. So if this match rate was maybe only like 20%, and again, if you're using credits, it's still probably worth it because you're using less money than you would if you paid the $99 minimum fee. You wouldn't do that if it was a 20% match. But if we're using credits, you would say you agree to the terms and then yes, use my credits. Otherwise, you could pay with a card too. So those are all the options there. Once you do that, it'll actually give you the option right here to export as an Excel sheet. And then let's see. I'll show you. So once you pay for it, it'll come in your consumer append history, and you can always pull the file at any point here too. So it saves everything for you, but that's pretty much it. It's really simple.
Okay.
Hey, Brian, by the way, remember, you're getting a copy of this video. So
Okay.
moving
Because I
fast,
was
like
I'm gonna be really lost if I.
yeah. So you
That's
can
what I
go
thought.
back and fast forward right to this section if you need to, or have your virtual assistant do it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Amanda gets a midnight text from me saying, "Hey, I'm Down syndrome. Can you help me with this again?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's a lot of buttons here, but we only use a few. So it is pretty simple once you get the hang of it. But that's really all it is for skip tracing on Data Finder. So are we
Okay.
good on that one for now?
yeah, I think that's good. So maybe jump to what's next? Jump to
Direct mail.
yeah. Yep.
So I'm actually logged in, but we use impactorder.com. And if you don't have the referral code, I can send you that by email because you will want that. You'll get better pricing. So
Okay.
wait to make an account until we send you that if you plan to
Okay.
make an account.
Yeah.
Okay.
By just so you know, too, real quick, Brian, just so you know, you got added to the private Facebook group, right?
I didn't.
Okay, I'll make sure Tyler does that. But you know, if you ever need me or Amanda, I like, you know, you'll be able to tag us, and obviously you can text me anytime you want. But if you ever want, like in the private Facebook group, if you ever need like Amanda's thoughts on something, just tag her in the private Facebook group, and she's pretty good about responding pretty fast.
Okay.
So.
All right. So yeah, we'll send you the link. It'll bring you to a
Freeze
page.
out again.
Huh? Oh, yeah. So it'll bring you to a page where you'll create your
Oh,
account.
it just cut out there for a minute.
Can you hear me?
It's getting a little muffled, but yeah.
I can hear Amanda. I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think Brian, are you? Is it good?
It's good now. Yeah.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead, Amanda.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll send you the link. It'll bring you to a page to set up your account. You'll log in, and then it'll bring you to a front page kind of like this one. And you have all of these options here at the top. You want to start by going to leads and contacts and upload my list. So when you get your exact data vacant list, this is where you're going to go first. And I usually just give the list the name. So exact data vacant list, and then I'll put the date here. So.
And I got to upload that file to that.
Exactly. Then you'll choose your file. So you'll save it to your computer somewhere. You'll choose it and then upload. And it'll give you the same options you saw pretty much on the skip tracing, where you'll match first name or full name. I usually just do first name and last name. Street address. This is where you'll want to use the mailing address, not the property address, because this is what's going to go on the actual postcard to be mailed out.
Okay.
So you just finish filling these in. And then you can always scroll up and just double check it up here to make sure everything looks good.
Okay. So just basically there's 4 tabs on that you're clicking.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I think I went too fast. I'm so used to doing this really quickly, but the bottom ones where it said phone number, that sort of thing, you don't need any of that, because all on the postcard it's going to say is like, hi, Brian, we want to buy your house at 123 Main Street. Call us at, 1-2-3-4-5-6-7-8. Thanks, Matt. So it's only certain areas that are actually filled in with the information.
Okay.
Other than that, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. So here's all of my lists that I've uploaded. So once it says your mailing list is completed, you'll see it here. And from there, you can go back to your homepage because your list is there now. And you want to go ahead and pick what postcard you're going to use. So here it gives you all the options. I'm thinking you're going to use the same ones that we've been using, which is Street View. For your very first one, that's the one that's doing best for us right now. So let me see if I can find it really fast. Thought I had like a favorites section, but. see. My favorites. Okay, so I did have that. View all of my favorites. Okay, so here's the Street View one. So whichever postcard you choose, you'll click order, and then it's going to bring you to a page where you're going to fill out the information again. Only this time it's going to have like the property information. So here it's going to have your first and last name. So pretty much your return information, the phone number that you want to use for when they get the postcard and call back. So we use CallRail, and we have we have it set up where we use Answer One as our call center that gets the calls, but we use CallRail because we can purchase a local phone number and then have that forward to Answer One. And you can have as many CallRail numbers as you want. So if you send out like 10 different direct mail pieces, you want them to each have a different CallRail number so that you can track for marketing purposes to see which card is actually doing best. Because if you put all the cards under one phone number, then you're not going to know how many people called the Street View number as opposed to how many people called the like third notice postcard. So they have to be separate so you can track them. So that's another reason we use CallRail instead of just having everything.
Okay. Should I just do one postcard for now? Just keep it simple.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing is, so you don't want to resend the same postcard all the time.
Yeah.
You want to mix them up a little bit. Amanda, we only mix between two now, right?
Yeah, we're using the Street View mostly, and then we'll go back to like the third notice card. So those are the two that we've been kind of rotating.
Yeah, I would, if I was you, I would work through those two, Brian.
And have two separate numbers.
Yep. Again, again, I know what your unique ability is. You're a lot like me in a lot of ways. And it seems like it's extra steps, but in the overall scheme of things, when you look back in 6 months, this is going to be totally worth it because you'll know exactly what you are spending for marketing. And knowing that is a big deal.
Okay.
Okay, so this phone number we use, it's our CallRail phone number, but if you call it, it actually forwards to our Answer One call center, and they take all of our calls and use a web form that we give them, enter the leads there, which goes into our Podio system. So that's kind of how our whole process works to get the leads.
How do I set
use
that
Podio?
up with them?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I was just asking how I set that up with them to get it.
For Answer One?
Yeah.
Oh, I can do a intro email for you on that too.
Yeah, so
I don't have a website or anything like that, so.
No, you don't need it.
I mean, I just don't have one, so I just was curious.
I didn't have a website. For my business, and look at all the deals I've done. I didn't have a website until what, Amanda? Like a year or two ago?
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Okay. I'm just trying to minimize certain expenditures I wouldn't need.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see. I'm making notes of what I need to send. So intro email. And even if you don't decide like right now, like if I send it to Answer One, you know, you don't have to like pull the trigger right now and pay for it if you don't want all your calls, but then you'll be getting all the calls or someone will have to get the calls to take these leads. And they're just really good about being available 24/7. And
how much do they charge to handle the call volume?
So it depends on the tier, how many, what do you call it? The number of minutes that they're actually on the phone. And I want to say the cheapest one that I saw was like $1.99 a month. And I can't remember how many minutes. It might be like $1 a minute, so maybe 200 minutes.
What's our bill? What's our bill usually run, Amanda? How much?
I'd have to go back and look. It just goes like straight to Bob and
I don't think for you guys, Brian, you guys probably wouldn't end up paying more than $200 or $300.
Yeah.
I think I pay $700 or $800 a month. The last time I looked at it, and we have thousands and thousands of these things going back and forth. So does he get a better deal with an affiliate with me, Amanda?
That is the best still with the affiliate. Yeah, it's usually more expensive. So
Okay.
to answer one. So does he have a Podio account set up, or will
Yeah,
he?
he has our Podio.
Oh, okay, good. So yeah, that'll be
Still
good.
don't know how to use it, but
Yeah, answer one's really familiar with it.
okay, good.
Yeah.
They already know our Podio and your Podio better than you'll probably ever know it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm so worried about freaking Podio, man. I mean,
Oh,
my
it's so
computer
good.
skills
It's
are
awesome.
login, sending.
No, it's awesome. You'll love it. Just got to get used to it.
And
Yeah.
Brian, you're gonna, I know, any of these monthly charges or whatever, nobody likes paying that stuff. But once you do your first deal, man, it pays for itself, and then you just let that money roll.
Yeah, it's something you have to do. If you want the deals, you want the
Have to.
opportunity, you have to do it. So it's not really a choice. You just got to do it.
You got to do it. And if you try, I can teach you ways to do deals without spending any marketing money, and you'll make money. You just won't have a consistent, real business producing cash all the time.
Yeah.
Amanda, keep doing what you're doing. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Yep. So return address. You can have your address here or whatever address you want to use. Basically, any returned postcards will come here. We have had people show up at our office asking to be removed. So if you don't want your home address, maybe, I don't know, P.O. box, or totally up to you though. But we use our office.
Box.
Huh?
I better get a P.O. box.
Yeah, I don't know what Matt would suggest there if you don't have like an office space, but I don't know if you want to put your home address. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't have an office space or anything like that, but I'm sure baby mama wouldn't like some strangers coming to the door.
Yeah,
Yelling at me.
that private.
Yeah, but Brian, just so you know, I think that's only so. We probably sent out over the years. Man, I don't even know, Amanda. 250,000 postcards a year. And I've been doing this for 9 years with postcards. And we probably only had like 3 or 4 people show up at our office total. It's pretty rare that it happens. Most people, they're too lazy to show up. But we've also had people show up with the postcard and say, hey, how do I really want you guys to buy my house?
Yep, that's true too. So.
Hey.
Yeah.
Maybe it's worth it then. I'll welcome that.
It's up to you. Personally, I would probably just get a P.O. box. But you're going to have to go to the, it's just an extra step. Because now you got to go to the P.O. box and get the returned mail. And you're always going to get postcards that you send that never get delivered.
Yeah. Is there a way to do a forward from your P.O. box to your personal mailbox?
Might be.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the postcard information, we just keep it white. And then it already will have, so if you use our link, you'll get all of these postcards in your account the exact same way that we already do them. So you won't really have to make any changes. You'll just put in your information. So this little message here, you might change a few things. So like here, I always change to like, I grew up in Aledo, not Site City, because Matt did grow up in Aledo, but you can change it just to kind of relate to the people that you're selling to, or you can leave it as is too, if you want to.
Okay.
And then it fills all of this stuff in for you. So you could just leave it like it is, and then it would put in the seller's name here, your name, their city. It pulls it from that list that you have. And then
so it automatically does that?
Yeah, and then the phone number here, it'll pull it from whatever phone number you put up here. So you don't have to mess with any of that. I don't ever mess with any of this stuff. This is all good. And then you can just name your order. So this is really the only other thing I changed. Vacant street, April 6th. That's kind of what I do. So if I need to reference back later, I can. And then you click continue. This is a little extra step for the street view that you don't have to do on other postcards, just because it's trying to match it to the Google Street View, so it can actually put the picture of their house on the postcard. So here's where you're going to pull the list that you uploaded earlier, and that's why you need to upload it first, because if you get to this step and you didn't upload your list, you're going to have to go back now and upload your list in order to continue on.
Yeah, do it all over.
Yeah, so here is our list that we uploaded. And then you'll click this little blue map list. And then again, you're just gonna match the columns. So first name, last name. And then this is gonna be the property information. Okay, so once that's in there, you'll save the changes. And then it's gonna ask you to re-verify. And this is where it's like verifying the list and pulling the pictures and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Okay, so it says it's been successful. Click save and continue. And then it's gonna give you a proof here in a second so that you can look and make sure everything looks good before you actually purchase the list. Sometimes it takes a minute to actually upload.
Again, Brian, I know, like for me, I look at all this stuff, I'm like, holy crap, there's a lot of moving parts, but you'll have
Now you're reading my mind.
you'll have a virtual assistant do this. Again, just this whole step she's doing right here is in, correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, but this
No,
is
you're right, yeah.
the virtually unemployed, the whole step by step. So your movement will be, hey, virtual assistant, I want to send 1,000 postcards this week to Mesa. Then that's all you'll have to give her, and then she will do the rest step by step and get it set up.
Okay.
Yep, so here, this is where you're gonna review everything. You can even download a PDF if you wanted to send it to someone, or if you want your virtual assistant to send it to you before you approve her to purchase, you could click that. But if you just wanna review really quick, if you scroll down, you'll see what the postcard looks like. That's their house right there. This is your callback number. So I would suggest always calling that number no matter how many times you've used it, just to make sure it still connects correctly to answer one, somebody answers, and that sort of thing before you actually send out an email. Office address, and then that's where it's going. And here's the rest of the postcard. And then you can scroll through a couple of them just to see how they look.
Verify it.
Yep. And then once you're ready, you'll click approve and checkout. And it makes you do this probably 3 or 4 times. It really wants to make sure you want to buy the list before you do. So
It's not a thing though.
yeah. Okay. And then here, I usually just click through. Basically, it tells you once you actually purchase this, it's scheduled then to go into production. So it's going to take a few days for them to actually create these postcards. And then they're going to send them to the post office. Then the post office will mail them out. So it is kind of a little bit of a process. It's not going to be immediate. As soon as you send it, you'll probably start getting calls a week and a half later.
Yeah, figure on 10 days.
Yeah.
So if once you send this and like you wake up the next morning, like, man, I didn't get any calls. Well, you won't for 10 days because they, the process. Now, this is one of the reasons why I like doing both this and cold calling and texting, because you do cold.
Cut out again.
Amanda, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I got you back.
Okay, so anyway, direct mail takes about 10 days after you send it to really get a response. When you do cold calling and texting, that's immediate.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and it kind of explains that here too as you go through these, what their turnaround time is. Here you have an option to do just, the regular, like on postcards, how you normally see, you don't see the real stamp on them. We just stick with that unless you're sending out some type of formal letter that you want it to have a real stamp. This is the cheaper option and it's just as good. So
Okay.
we leave it at that. And then let's see. Everything else just stays the same. We don't really track our mail or anything like that either. So just an extra cost. But this next page will tell you your charges summary. So it'll give you the total pieces that you're sending out and then the cost for that. So you can see kind of the breakdown here.
Right.
So if you didn't have my discount, Brian, I think it ends up costing you like 20% or 25% more, something like that. Typically, most people spend, I think it's like 55 cents for a postcard. So
yeah, and that's all in the virtual training too. We actually have a side-by-side chart of what regular pricing is compared to what our VIP pricing is. So you could check that out also.
Perfect.
And then your email will just automatically appear there so that you'll get an email. And then you continue. You're going to have to acknowledge all of these to continue, basically saying that you accept, that you proofread it, that you're okay with it, you're ready for it to be mailed out. My computer's kind of freezing up too. Let's see. There we go. Approve. Oh, one last one. Basically tells you the same thing again, and this is where you'll make the payment. And once you click approve, it'll give you your receipt, and that's when it kind of gets everything started. And then that's all you have to do on that.
Okay.
And Amanda, Brian, I never am concerned about my virtual assistants that I hire, like having like a credit card number or anything like that. Doesn't bother me at all. Would he be able to, but I'm just playing devil's advocate for you right now. So Amanda, would he have all of that? Like, I want him to have this whole process automated so he can just literally say, hey, send 1,000 postcards this week. Can he have his credit card number on file, or does his virtual assistant have to have that?
Yep. So you see how I clicked right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So because I've used it before and I saved it, it is on here. So as long as he sets up his account initially with the credit card on file, she should just be able to click that same button.
Perfect.
And it'll fill in everything else. Or there's also the option, I will contact Deluxe with my payment information. So she can go through the process and do all of this. And
That's
then,
sweet. Okay.
yeah, and then you can have them call you, or you can call them to actually make the payment. But yeah, you can put a card in there and she can use that. So, and then the same with the data finder. If you just upload the credits for her to use, then she can do that every time and not even use a credit card.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I don't even want to deal with it. I just want it to be done.
Yeah.
So Amanda, I had him take a disc test, and he's similar to me in a lot of ways. He doesn't like paperwork at all. He's not techie or anything like that. He's really good at sales. So like his eyes glaze over like mine do when it comes to paperwork and like this type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. But we're gonna find when he'll search for a virtual assistant to help him that's a high C like you.
What's going to be the first thing that you do? Or is it going to be direct mail, or are you going to try it cold calling first, or kind of both?
I think we're gonna do both.
Oh,
Yeah, just get everything set up all at once. And
Yes, because I want to do texting. I want him to do lead Sherpa. Actually, we may just do 2. I don't know if we want to go 3 because I don't know that he'll be able to handle it. So we might push lead Sherpa. I want you to. So tomorrow, Amanda, I want you to. Whenever's a good time for you in the morning, we're going to start at 9 o'clock again. But I want you to go through the whole lead Sherpa thing with him so he knows how to goes through the process. But I don't know that we're going to start that yet. But one thing I want to get your help on is I want to talk through some virtual assistant stuff tomorrow at some point. So just maybe set aside like an hour or something for us tomorrow sometime.
okay, and the morning is fine at some point.
Oh yeah, my morning's
text
fine.
you.
Yeah, just text me.
Okay.
I'm gonna have Tyler go through more Podio Q&As and just process and maybe go through a real deal like today. So he's got more experience with that. But yeah, so just maybe cut out of like an hour tomorrow with us.
Okay, sounds good.
thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hopefully that's not like information overload, but it probably is.
It is for me. It is for me.
Yeah.
Sure. Hopefully it'll work itself out.
Amanda, do we have videos already created that you did on these steps?
We haven't created videos in a while, so I do think we have some old ones like on direct mail.
Okay.
Maybe data finder. I'd have to go back through my old YouTube account and see what I have, but they'd be old. I don't think a lot has changed, but it just might look a little bit different.
Just so you know, coming at you, we have to basically take virtually unemployed and turn it into a video course. So
Oh,
some of this
okay.
stuff, yeah, I'm going to do some, Tyler's going to do some, and I need you to do some. But just so you know that that's coming down the pipe. So you may, it might be easier just to do a few of those, you know, and then we can even use those and send those to Brian as well. So, but I'll talk to you about that later. So anyway, so Brian, you're all good with Amanda for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you guys just want to take a quick lunch break and then we can
Yeah.
get back.
How much time do you need for lunch?
Yeah, 30 minutes or so.
30. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Whatever you need.
Yeah. So it's 2:30 my time now. So it would be what, 12:30 your time.
Yeah.
So I'll catch you back at noon.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, brother.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. We'll
All
see
right,
you.
you're welcome. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome.
We went over a lot of shit. Fucking sucks. So what, I bought that fucking tank. Well, he didn't have the money to do his septic inspection until today.
Is this Justice?
Yeah. And, you know, that's what the $800 was, the septic cert. For $1,000, that's what it was. Well, his fucking septic system is the box that distributes everything. Go ahead, get in there.
Are you sure?
Something about it, where's the Jordan? How much so I have one. Anyway, fucking, it's like, the good thing is the tank of the septic tank is still good, but the distribution field was fucked. That can't be good. $5,000. Are you kidding me? Fucking hell, lot better than it could have been. Serious? Oh yeah. Shit, it was put in $10,000 for the whole septic. So anyway, he's a little bummed, of course, because you know it's like every fucking time we turn around, we just get losing more money.
And nobody needs it more than he does right now, right? You know?
Exactly. You know, so I feel bad for him. It's like I'm not fucking taking it. I already lost. It's my own sweater.
Well, you got him 50 grand more than what he was gonna get anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does cover that.
Yeah, but you know, it sucks. If you go into it thinking, okay, I got this much now.
No, there's 10 grand less than what you thought, 15 grand less than what you thought.
I mean, it is what it is, fuck, you know, but
Fortunately, it's the game, you know?
it is. And, you know, it's like I told him, dude, you don't have options. You know, it's not like you can fucking put this, say, fuck you, wait for something better and have it be better.
Yeah.
The way the market's trending right now, you're probably gonna fucking lose money.
No, for all he knows, it's 2 months. Now that house is worth half of what it is now.
Half what it is or twice what it is, you know, I mean, either way, you know?
And how did you come up with CS on that? That's what I thought I would be more like. I don't get how I was saying. I mean, I could see it in some way, but
Chris is a DI and a CS.
thought for sure we do the same thing.
Ah, shit.
But, yeah, thank you.
I bought money for Jory too, so. I mean, so. I got it back. Oh, I brought you one too.
Oh.
And I forgot I forget you always like that.
You know, so overwhelmed, all the shit you went over today.
You want regular or diet?
I'll take regular.
Cherry or regular?
I'll take regular.
Cherry one is good.
I feel bad for Dan, dude.
Dude. Hello, this Mike. Hello. It's not working out the way it's supposed to. Sorry, dude.
I'm just glad you're making some good money on that. I mean, think about it, it's still gonna net 35,000 more than what you would have made.
Well,
And that's
and
just
you get
getting,
that. The other guy, he can have, $650 paid cash, but we're probably. That's mine. But he would have required a septic cert.
Yeah.
So it would have been same buck, right?
Yeah.
There's no fucking way you're getting away from it.
not only that, there's still some that's 650 instead of 690 or whatever it is.
I mean, like I said, Dan's just, he's bumpy.
Yeah. Rightfully so, but
I'm just kind of scared to death right now. He got a house, he's renting over in Cusco. Which one the other day? Which will be good for now. Single level, no maintenance.
so have a huge pull in deal for its toys and stuff.
Yeah. But there's bowls and shit over there too.
There's a lot of food. I just mashed that up.
Oh, fuck.
That was really good.
Let my brother-in-law talk me into something last month, but I'm gonna do it.
What was that?
I told you about the tenants, but the house that I thought we'd go to buy from the landlord, that whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the tenant's been in there, and they didn't want to pay last month's rent. So I goes, hey, you pay the deposit, in lieu of the deposit, you know, it'll be okay. You know, they'll be out in time, and they'll clean the shit off the front of the house. I'm like, sure, yeah, sure, they'll get that. They're good people there, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, so I paid the $1,200 for that deposit that we had. I had a deposit for them, figure, and do the rest. Well, now they fucking aren't out. Asked first, so now I gotta return a $1,200 deposit to the fucking owner. It's cost me $2,400 instead of $1,200. Are you fucking serious? Yeah. That's a shitload of money.
Thank you, Mike.
You bet.
My mom calls me and she goes, oh, did I call you? Wrong number. I meant to call your dad. And she goes, love you. Bye. I'm like, okay, thanks, Mom. I feel so special.
Never trust.
$3 grand out that work.
24. That's $3 grand.
That's a new set of gloves or a couple months of golf or mortgage, 2 mortgage payments, my case, mortgage payment.
What happened?
I made a bad business decision. I trust my brother-in-law.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What does your brother-in-law say now?
Sorry, dude.
I mean, not that he could have foreseen that.
Brian knows about bad business decisions.
Yes, I do.
thank you, Mike.
to the highest degree.
Still irritating the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Well, especially in these times, you know what I mean? I know with all the uncertainty going on.
Well, you worked for that money.
And the worst thing about it is you try to do it the right way. Yeah. You know what I mean? That when you get burned on stuff like that, that's when it really gets to you.
I went out my way to help people try to not create a conflict between the landlord and the tenant.
Yeah.
So I could excuse myself from it a month ago. I said, here's the deposit. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I mean, it really only cost me an extra $1,200 because I had the $1,200 I had to get back to the deposit. I've had that in old account for 15 years. But my brother-in-law taught me that let them, the tenants use it for rent. Because they were like founded when they weren't going to pay, so landlord was going, yeah, they are. They're going, no, we're not. I'm like, sure, all right, I'll give you money. I get this $1,200 back. Yeah, I'm not listing the house, not doing shit. Well, they don't just fucking did it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So they're gonna try to fix it up then. With no money.
No money and they can't get in there right now. The fucking tenants won't get out. And he's coronavirus positive.
That's the trifecta right there, bro.
I told you better than that, right? My other listing this morning, supposed to come on. Second listing supposed to come on today. I met Kevin last Monday, met with him, got all the stuff done. We took pictures on Tuesday. On Wednesday, a buddy just calls him up over the move. He goes over and helps me move stuff. Close around 6, 8 feet from me. He calls me after that and says, oh yeah, by the way, I tested positive yesterday for coronavirus. This guy's got 4 fucking kids, a wife, they just had a new baby. And he's supposed to be up in Utah this week looking at houses. And now he's fucking locked down here for, we can't even show the house until he's been
Quarantine days.
14 days.
Yeah. And he has kids that he can take back to?
Yeah, but I know you're not gonna get it now if you go get it. That's what people are gonna say. They're gonna be like, do I wanna go view it with that going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have anything to not tell people, you know what I mean? You could go without saying it, really good. So when you just need like a video feature,
Oh, they have virtual tours now. But
it's not the same as seeing it in
How
one,
How did you get it?
helping somebody move.
well, the other, he doesn't have it yet.
Oh,
My client does not have it. The guy he helped move called him later and said, oh, by the way.
Oh,
I've got to tell you, man,
and he knew it.
he fucking knew it before he asked me to come help him move.
Stop it.
Nope.
That's just messed up.
Yep. That's the messed up part.
See, there's some people that really do care about this and are taking it serious because it is serious and it should be. And then there's the other people that are like, whatever, blah, blah. And they're making everything work.
Well, it should go one of 2 ways. In my view, they should just either lock everything down, you fucking don't move for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
anybody, or B, if you're younger, healthier, don't have any underlying conditions, live life, man. If you guys get it, fuck it,
Yeah.
fine. Quarantine the older, let us build a community to it, or this shit's gonna come back again fucking next year, in the year after,
Yeah.
and the year after, until we all have a vaccine, we're all fucking, immune that way, but
Yeah.
this is all this has done is crippled everybody's life.
everybody.
And there's no stimulus package that covers people who really need it.
No, and I love the fucking fact that Congress gave themselves a $46,000 a year fucking raise on this shit.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, part of that.
Oh, that was nice of them.
I was part of the stimulus bill. Give every American $3,000, we say 46,000 more a year.
Wow.
It's unbelievable to me. And then there's people like me who were contractors, 1099, they never put anything in place originally on that. And then, what about the people that couldn't even afford to pay their taxes, but are now out of a job? You're not gonna pay them anything either?
Yep. You got it.
So,
Or people that live paycheck to paycheck.
So, I mean, that's everybody
Yeah.
in this country.
most people don't have more than $2,000 per savings account.
Not only that, but it's like, okay, they get people who don't make shit, $1,200.
Yeah, but what about people that have actual bills?
That's my point. Okay, you get people like this 1,200 a month guy. Okay, I'm gonna use Jory's example. Jory's bills are zero. She gets $1,200.
Mhm.
Your bills are $5,000
Easily.
You get $1,200. It doesn't make a fucking dent.
And I don't get anything.
I know, because you're self-employed before
My money's going to him, but.
this. I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's different.
But how do you know you're gonna actually get it? Don't you have to go online and fill something out?
No,
It
it's
goes by your extra tax.
2018 taxes.
Chris and I made too much, so we fucking get shit.
It's
Ours
like
is gonna get $1,200.
anybody that made over 75 gets nothing, right?
Yeah.
No,
98 is a couple.
unless you're head of the household making it for the house.
And depending on how many kids you have, I mean, there's factors and stuff.
You
It's
know, we
gonna
can't
take-
claim
it's-
that one.
It's gonna take a while before I get it. Probably like another month or so.
Probably at least 3 weeks or so,
They
yeah.
said 3 weeks, supposed to get it.
Yeah, that's what they say though. You
As
know,
efficiently as our government runs,
Don't count on it. Look what's happened with the coronavirus. We have third world countries can get a test up and running in 2 weeks, and we can't do it in 3 months.
well, actually, it's only been 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the freakiest thing about all this shit?
It's like you want to get government more control.
it seems like it's been going on forever.
They just need to get out of Trump's way and get shit done. They need to have people that are at high risk, stay home, quarantine yourself, and people that are in good health, get back to work, go to work. And if you get it, quarantine.
And then as soon as you're healthy, go back.
I was wondering, like, on the business side, since I paid $20 grand for this, and it's a hired employee, like, would I get any relief as a
Shit, I applied for it.
I'm still not how to do it.
I sent you that
But I
thing.
think it has to be like, you have to have actual payroll type.
I would check out what you got, but you can't.
But I'm gonna be hiring people to do, but some of them are gonna be out of the country.
I don't know.
So you don't get, you know.
Yeah. I sent you that thing. You just have to go through it.
I know, I looked through it and all I'm saying is that. What your payroll taxes, who's on your payroll,
Yeah. I rent for your business.
I wonder if I can include my mortgages for that. Business.
Who knows? You might be able to. You do work from home.
I mean, the church.
I'm going back to dance.
Oh my, really?
Yeah. Now they got an issue with the school. Fucking Christ.
Oh, you know what I can do to help?
Just relax. It's gotta close, so whatever fucking is wrong with it, he's gotta fix. Box this stuff up, it should still be good.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll keep it here for you.
Oh, no, it's yours, man.
Oh, so you don't want to take one of yours, that's
It's not my first. I bought it for that. He learned, and now I'm not learning. So, I mean, just record it.
It's gonna be recorded. I just, I know that you would tell me, I understand everything, but I don't know.
I will. I'm just gonna have to watch it.
Yeah.
The good thing is you can watch it in sections. You don't have to sit there for.
It's like one of the real estate classes right now. Jesus fucking Christ. What else can go wrong for Dan?
Dude, I don't know.
Is this the guy you loan money to, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, it's not gonna close. His septic system cost him $5,000 to fucking fix today. They're working on it. And now something's wrong with his fucking pool. So it's probably gonna be a new pool pumper filter. So
It's like one thing after another.
all he's gotta do is close on this goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm.
2 days from now. That's it.
At this point, he'd be stupid if he doesn't make every concession.
No, he's gonna do whatever it takes. He's just like, he can't take this thing apart and look at it.
Yeah.
He's like, can you come over? I'm like, I'm on my way. I'll be there.
Well, let us know if we can do anything.
Yeah, let him know we're thinking about him. That just sucks.
You saved his ass.
By doing this. Right,
And, I mean, you're making good money. I mean, you make $3,000 off this shit, which is
$3,300.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Think about that. You lend 20
48 hours. 48 hours.
grand basically. You're getting 23 back,
Yeah.
a little over 23 back.
it
I
ain't
think
that
3,300.
And dipshit should be out of his house, so his should go on the market this week too. Mike Brown.
Oh,
Who's
no.
dipshit?
Mike Brown, that's what he's gonna make money, because that's like, he's already on month 4. He's already at $4,000 there for 10 grand.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that whole one
okay.
goes for 60 days, so that'll be 6 grand on that.
He's gonna, if you know, he's between 16 and 17 grand, yeah.
Yeah.
He fucked himself.
Hey, it's not bad for you.
You remember what I told him? I was going, only take what you need. If you can get by on 5 grand, this is not cheap or anything money. You're a dumb fuck if you take this. This is desperation only. You don't have anywhere to get it.
Yeah, you did say that.
He's like, oh yeah, I know. And he could have got by with 5.
Did I? Because I will take the car,
You can take the car, you can take the fucking house.
and I would. I'm not gonna lose.
Oh no, no, you ain't gonna lose.
No, there's no possible way I could.
And he can't sell that fucking house or do anything. I mean, he can sit in, you can go take his car, and that would be the end of it until it's time to take his house or sells it.
Yeah, I looked at this car and like the trade value was like 2 grand. I was like,
You could probably sell it for. Oh
What does he drive?
It's
It's his
a,
wife's car.
it's like a Chevy Terrain.
Oh, I feel so bad taking stuff.
I would. I mean, I feel bad, but
Well, not only that, my wife and I bought their family, they have quadruple, she had 4 kids at once.
Holy moly.
So they got 4 kids. So Chris and I bought them $1,000 worth of shit for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Just, we picked them out as our family this year, and we do it for family every year. It's like, and I was like, so they didn't have to spend any of that money you gave them. So they've had 10 grand to live on for 4 months. And I know he's had 2 closings.
oh, he was supposed to pay out of that.
Was.
So he's just been stupid with his money.
It's a scary thing when you get a big chunk like that. Because let's say he paid Brian back. So all of them, he'd probably only been down like 13 grand at that time. And he probably made, probably could pay Brian everything back. Been in the clear, but then he only would have had 3 grand to live on next month. But you're out of debt.
Most people don't know. Yeah, exactly. Because for me, like debt, if it looms over me and like I have some anxiety about it,
And his just keeps going up. Let's say he just paid you back the 10 grand. Then the interest stops occurring. Okay, now take a month or so and pay back the other 3. No big deal. Easy. But my guess is, like I said, it's dumb black dude syndrome where, I'm sorry, it is. Oh yeah.
that makes all the sense in the world.
It does make sense.
Well, I mean, if it helped him, great, you know.
Oh, it did.
Get rid of it first time,
But
but
like I said, I warned him not to do it. I warned him, only take what you need to get by.
Yeah.
And
Now you can tell him I told you so.
oh, I have no guilt, ill will, nothing. This guy dumb fuck this.
Wow.
well, it was good for me, because I'll get, 16 grand back out of it.
I'll do that, babe.
Yeah, I better get, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Oh, you're back.
You
I
want
think
water
back
to
an
take
hour or
with
so.
you?
Oh, no, I just finished the Diet Coke. I'm good.
Okay, let us know if you need anything.
Oh,
I'm not doing
I
anything.
get a roll. No, I shouldn't roll. Rules are good though.
No, I wouldn't. I do it now, because they ain't gonna be good later.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm trying to cut carb back and I just had a little tiny bit of potatoes. All right.
Those potatoes are delicious.
See you in a bit. Good luck over there.
We really don't need to put any of this in containers, babe. It's in containers.
The meat I would.
Okay.
Just because that, I mean, air would get to it in those containers.
Are you gonna be set for doing this till 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay. You need anything?
I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, because there's so many, it's the work related items to get everything into place.
Yeah.
And it's so for them, all this is super simple. But for me, it's really detail oriented and a lot of little things that you need to do. And I don't function that way. I'm just more of a go make it happen guy. Anything that's technological or paperwork or, that.
Each category that he tells you something, like make that as like your bold thing and then take notes on it.
Well, we're going to hire someone to do it all. So.
Oh, to take notes on it?
No, to do all the things that I'm not good at.
Oh, okay. But yeah, my thing is always take notes and then you can refer back to them.
Well, I am. He's recording this for me, so it'll work out just fine.
Let me know if you need anything.
I need some prayers to make this work.
I sent you prayers.
I just want to go back to making 500, 600, 700 grand a year, so and beyond, so we have some breathing room.
Yeah.
The last 2 years after that loss, it's just been.
It's been more than a couple years.
3 years, almost 3 years.
We lost that money before we got together.
Yeah, but the case didn't close until 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we were in court for about, a little over a year. Looking back, I never even should have spent the money to go to court on that. But those attorneys sure love to make you believe you're going to get your money back.
Well, they're like, yeah. They have to make some money somehow. Do you want to roll? They look good.
Throat is really dry.
There's some water. You want to make some tea?
Yeah, good.
Okay, I'm gonna put this back in the fridge. Your soda?
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat the rest of these potatoes.
Okay.
They're delicious.
Do it.
Well, that dip isn't helping your throat any.
No, it certainly doesn't.
That was nice to meet you.
Yeah, he's such a good dude.
Yes.
Very few people I'd do just about anything for, and he's one of them.
You can tell he's super overwhelmed right now. Everything's just madness for everybody,
All right. Let's see here. Can you hear me again?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Did you get some lunch?
Chow down, my brother. Got the meat sweats now.
That's good. I had a little sandwich action, so I'm good to go. So, well, yeah. So, everything that Amanda just went over. Just so you know, it's until I hired Amanda. I just didn't do any of that stuff, or at least if I did, I didn't do it very well.
Yeah,
so,
it's one of those that's the kind of stuff that I think overwhelms me the most, is figuring out and doing the little stuff like that, because it's more detail oriented than you think.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of steps and little actions to take, and that's why I really need to have someone do that for me.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the thing is though I haven't thought about direct mail or cold calling, like the whole cold calling process or skip tracing in so long that I can't even remember, because, once you've got the process built, then all you do is you decide, you look at the KPIs. This is why, it's so important to track every single bit of marketing. And that's why we set Podio up to do that. Without the Podio system that you have, you would never be able to track any of it. But now that you have that, your job is to look at the KPIs. Because I can tell you right now, I can tell you here's my response rate with this postcard, here's what happens with this list, here's what this list is. And I can break it all down, but my area may not be exact as yours. So in the Quad Cities, direct mail works really, really well. There's nothing that gives me a greater, well, I can't say that. Of my paid marketing, nothing gives me a greater return on dollars than postcards. But in your area, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Cold calling may work better. But if you don't have,
who knows?
yeah, we don't know yet. So, but if you don't track those dollars spent, like you should be able to, if you've got all these different marketing channels working and you run them for, weeks or months, you'll eventually, something will emerge the winner, right? And you always throw more money at the winners and take money from the losers. So, but if you don't track it, you don't know what that is. So, you'll find that your marketing costs will be your biggest expense in the course of a year. Maybe someday that could get outrun by human capital someday, maybe. I would doubt it, because the way you're going to build it out, you're going to have virtual assistants doing all this stuff. Maybe you pay a sales guy, a certain amount of money someday that, it's just 100% commission. But if you're selling a lot of houses, that number could go up there. So the marketing piece is really important, because you're spending a lot. You're going to be dropping. I mean, I drop $20,000, $30,000 a month in my marketing. It's a chunk. It's real money, and at the end of the year, it's a real big chunk of cash. But I'm comfortable doing that because I know from my KPIs. Again, you have all this stuff built into your Podio. But I know I can look at my KPIs and say, no problem. I'm okay dropping that postcard, because every time I drop that postcard, it pays me X. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's really, really important, because most guys don't do it that way. For one, most people, even veterans, like the crazy thing is, I've coached a lot of people, and even veterans most of the veterans don't even watch their numbers. They don't even know. Like if I ask them, hey, what are you getting on what's your cost per contract on your best marketing piece? Well, they don't even have a clue as to what I'm talking about. And it's like, man, you are throwing money away doing that. So you're gonna have a pretty cool at the end of the end of this year. I mean, it's gonna be a very easy look at what's making you money and what isn't. So the other thing is, just because you're going to be in the Podio world, and I'm actually going to have Tyler spend some time with you on Podio this afternoon. Okay. But just because you're in the Podio world and you're going to be speaking the Podio language, with people, you have a jump on everybody. Your Podio system's better than everybody's. So just because somebody else says they have Podio, that doesn't mean that they're tracking their KPIs. You have to write code in order for it to do that, right? And we've done that for your version. You're using the same thing we use. So it's pretty cool that you've got all that stuff built in. So just jumping back, quick review after lunch, just to get your brain working. I love direct mail. Okay. Direct mail, you have to buy a list, and you have to send the postcard. Okay. Buying the list, you buy that list once. If you're doing direct mail, cold calling, and texting, you don't have to keep buying the list over and over again. You buy the list once and you reuse it for everything. So you're going to use it for probably about 7 weeks. So you buy the list for direct mail. And if you want a cold call, which you are going to do, you're going to take that same list, you're going to skip trace the list, and you're going to use that list as your cold call list. So one thing that we didn't cover, because we don't really need to with the whole exact data doing stuff for you, is that list is a vacant list, but it's also non-owner occupied, okay? And it's high equity. So imagine this, you have a property. So first of all, backing up, what is do you know the statistic on the number of houses that are owned free and clear in the United States?
Well, I no clue, maybe 15, 20%?
Yeah, it's 37%. So, which catches everybody by surprise. Nobody guesses the right number. Because, so think about it. So if you got your car right now and started driving down the street, every third house you pass, to give a analogy, every third house that you pass is owned free and clear. That's how many houses out there that are owned free and clear. Now, only a certain portion of those that are vacant, right? So a person that's got a vacant home that owns it free and clear, does that person still have expenses on that house?
Of course they do.
Yeah, we got taxes, they got insurance, they still have to upkeep the property, have to mow the grass if the city finds them. They probably got utilities on, right? I mean, you're going to still have expenses. So that doesn't mean just because somebody owns something free and clear, if it's vacant, they're bringing in no rent money, right? There's no tenant in there. So they're still highly motivated to sell, even though, or there's a chance they're highly motivated to sell, even though the house is owned free and clear and it's vacant. So we love that list. Right now, the vacant list is more important than ever because people don't really want you inside of their houses, or most people don't want you inside of their houses right now anyway, because they think that you're going to infect them. Notice how that exactdata.com was never given to me. That was never a list that I ever heard a single guru talk about ever. I found exact data on my own through massive research of digging and digging and digging. So I've been using them for years. I found that list. If on top of that though, on that list, notice how if you don't call into the company and talk to a specific person inside that company, you'll never even know that they have a vacant list. This is something with me over years and years and years saying, I went to Exact Data. They didn't offer a vacant list. It wasn't part of their recipe. It wasn't in their menu. I said, I need a vacant list. I need vacant properties. If I want to buy vacant properties are my favorite properties. They created that list for me. So it's not like they're normal customer service people. They can't open up their books and say, hey, I can offer a vacant property list. It doesn't exist. One specific person in the company that we recommend gets that list. That's important right now because that cuts out a lot of your competition. Other people don't know about that list. So in other words, if you're mailing to that list, there's less chance that you're going to run into competition as ListSource or Listability, which everybody mails to list. ListSource is the #1 list company on the planet. The crazy thing is that list does not convert for us better than Listability or Exact Data. So it's pretty cool. You've got an advantage there. Plus you get a better deal. So backing up.
There for a minute.
Say that again.
It cut out there for a minute again.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. Hopefully it's not my internet. It's gotten better since after lunch. Okay, so again, if you were only doing direct mail, you would just need the list, buy the list, and then you mail the list postcard. So you need a postcard and a list for direct mail. For cold calling, you need no postcard, obviously. You just need the list, and you have to skip trace the list in order to be able to have numbers to dial. Because when you pull a list of names, no phone number is ever included. So like when you call Exact Data or ListSource or Listability, it's just a person's address and property address and that stuff. It's no numbers. So that's why you need to only do skip tracing if you're cold calling. You don't have to do that step if you're but you're going to do both. So we got to do both. Okay. So the third thing that we're going to learn, this is going to be something we'll have Amanda do tomorrow. And again, this is going to be, your virtual assistant's going to do this for you. I have never done this. I have never done texting. So tomorrow I'm going to have Amanda show you the Lead Sherpa stuff. Lead Sherpas, I like Lead Sherpa because it's not the cheapest way to go, but it's the legal way to go. And, with texting, there's certain laws you have to follow. And one of them is there's a law that you can't mass text. You can't hit one button and hit text message, 1,000 people. It's just risky. the law states that you have to send one text at a time. And if you do that, you're safe. Well, Lead Sherpa, you just hit a button with Lead Sherpa and it sends the text. Well, you know, you can hit a button a lot very, very quickly and send a lot of text. So we can do all of our text for all we do. I think we do 200 or 300 texts a day is all we do. And typically you can do that in 15, 20 minutes. Okay. And then it just comes back to responding to the text messages. So on your direct mail, a good response rate on direct mail is 2 to 3%. You land in that, you're doing really well. Text messaging, you're going to get a higher response rate, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper to send a text than it is to send a postcard or to do a cold call. So you'll get like a 10% response rate on text messaging. You don't get 100%. You know, you think like right now, if you got a text message from somebody you didn't know, there's a pretty good chance you would probably still text, "Hey, who is this and how'd you get my number?" Right? Well, in these text messages that go out, there's an opt-out link in there, so people know that you're a business, and some people just don't respond, right? So you'll have about a 10% response rate. A lot of people like working through text, so we like doing it, and it's cheap. I would say if I was like super strapped for cash and had almost no money, I would probably do texting as one of my lead sources, because it is really cheap to do. So it's something that it'll be good for you to do. And again, if we get 3 months into this and you discover that, hey man, you know, direct mail just isn't working, like my response rate is 0.5% and, you know, conversions are terrible, but text messaging is really working really well, we'll just do, we'll focus on the thing that, you know, works the best for you. Being able to look at your KPIs every single week saying, hey, this worked, this didn't work, let's do that, let's change some stuff. Yeah. So that's why we spent, you know, the time we spent on that. So, okay. All right, so we got that covered. We're going to do texting tomorrow. RVM, just so you know, so here's where I use RVM. We have RVM up here. Ringless voicemail. Where I use RVM is on all my old leads. So now you've got Podio. With Podio, you are going to capture all these leads forever, okay? You know, as these leads come in, Riva will be adding them into your Podio system, and these leads are super valuable. Remember what I said? What's the percentage of leads I convert on follow-ups? You remember?
I think you said 75%.
Yes. So all these leads be in your system, and you'll have talked to these leads. You made them an offer. You couldn't come to an agreement. Couldn't close the deal, whatever. So, but you'll hit those people. Like last 2 weeks ago, we RVM'd, we ringless voicemailed all the leads in my whole system. There was 3,000 of them, 4,000, something like that. Jeez. And we got like, I think we got 7 contracts from that. Now, I didn't have to rebuy the list. Some of them were years old. Like I talked to them 3 years ago. So you don't have to repay for the list. You've already talked to them. All you're doing is dropping a voicemail, and we'll give you, you know, you'll have ours. But like my voicemail is I just say something like, hey, this is Matt. I talked to you a while back regarding buying your house. We couldn't come to a deal. We couldn't come to an agreement on a deal. But I'm still interested in buying. If you have any interest in selling, give me a call back at the number that came in your caller ID. So I use that one voicemail. It works for all my different phone numbers. And I don't know if I talked to him last month or 3 years ago, instead of saying, you know, so I make it one general voicemail that says, hey, I talked to you a while back about buying your house. See how generalized that was?
Yeah. And this is only people that contacted, right? And have had direct contact.
Already talked to them. Yep. You're just trying to reharvest old leads. So So you've got those leaving your system. You drop that first voicemail. Now they pick. So ringless voicemail. They look at their phone, and they look down and they're like, "How did I miss a call? I didn't even hear my phone ring." You ever had that happen?
Oh yeah.
Where you've had like, so they think that maybe there was a glitch in like their cell service or whatever. So they miss a call and they're like, they listen to the message. Oh, call. This is Matt. Talked to you a while back about your house. And called me back on the number that came up on our caller ID. So they hit send, and it immediately rings a couple times and goes to another voicemail. The other voicemail just says, "Hey, this is Matt. Sorry I missed your call. I'm on the line with another seller. Leave me a message and I'll call you back." So now they think that you're talking to another seller about buying their house, and there's another voicemail, so they call you back. So here's the cool thing. You can't leave one voicemail. If you do, it's meltdown. Your phone will literally not stop ringing. The 2 voicemail system, by the way, these never come to your phone, right? This is all done through the software. So the 2 voicemail system is the filter that you need in order to get the leads that are most motivated. Somebody that listens to 1 voicemail then calls, they're not motivated. But if they go through 2 voicemails and they leave you a message, those are good leads. So we just I think about every 2 months, 30 days to 2 months, depending on the situation, we drop RVM on all our old leads, and it always harvests new contracts every time. Again, you've already paid for all that, and our dropping RVM is the cheapest thing there is. It's cheaper than texting. So my first RVM that I ever did, the very first time I ever did it, I spent $200 total on all the RVM stuff, and I made I wholesaled a 12-unit building, and I made $136,000. First deal ever. First time I ever did an RVM. $200 converted into $137,000. That's why I like the game. So,
don't hate the player, hate the game, brother.
Right, man. So, so now the whole call center thing. Amanda sent an email today on that to make that intro too, right? I thought I saw that later.
Call rail, answer 1, affiliate link.
Okay, so so Reba and answer 1 are the same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. So you're gonna have to
Nexa.
Huh?
Nexa.
Is it Nexa?
Nexa.
It's not Reba.
Nexa. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Here, erase your Reba. It should be Nexa.
NEXA.
Here, let me write this. Nexa is the same as answer 1. So I want you to you're going to have to set up your answer 1 or your Nexa. I want you to do that. I'm probably going to give you a few minutes today to do that.
Okay.
You're also going to have to set up your call rail because you got to get those numbers set up.
Okay.
You can do that this afternoon at some point.
Okay.
Let me look through this here. Again, they'll fill out the Podio. They're already familiar with your Podio because they already
How did they gain
ours.
access to that through me? Do I got to send them?
Yeah. You'll give them.
They get access to the web form where leads can get put into. The same one that you can put on your website, or
It's just the web form.
all they get is the web form.
Okay, but they've got that from us.
Mm-hmm. In the script, there's a link to the web form.
Okay, so in the script there's a link to the web form. That web form automatically puts it into your Podio. It's a Zap.
No, it's Podio web form.
Podio web form. Okay, it's automation we built out already. You just get it and they drop it in, so you don't have to give them a password.
Okay.
So they'll fill out the Podio. So we're gonna go through sorting leads, but I'm gonna have Tyler's here right now.
I'm trying to join your call so we can all be together and it'll be recorded.
Yeah.
So I'll just be here.
Can you join?
I'm trying to.
I want you to go through. So just, Tyler, his personality type is a lot like mine.
Mm-hmm.
Hates paperwork just like I do, hates technology like me.
Mm-hmm.
So one of his biggest concerns is the technology piece. I just had Amanda go through all of the, right before lunch, Amanda went through all of the how to skip trace with data finder, how to pull the list with exact data, and how to actually set up postcards. And it was like it's a little overwhelming for me too when he first time I ever saw it. So a little overwhelming there. So for when you go through the Podio stuff, take it really slow and show step by step how to hit the buttons, how to fill it out, how to do the.
Are you gonna sit here too when I do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here.
Yeah, so stop me if something happens.
And again, I know I've said this before, Brian, but we're not disappearing after this. If you need help, Tyler can jump on with you too.
Okay, I appreciate that because I'm sure that I'll need it.
Yeah, I text guys all the time. Or
Yep.
Yeah, I wish I was more efficient with this, but it's just not my it's not my forte.
Hey, not everybody's different.
I can see in here that I just logged in, but Tyler set up a bunch of stuff in here, a bunch of apps showing on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm. He's logging in right now. You throwing it up on that screen too?
I'm trying not to.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through.
Something pop up to let me in.
Oh yeah. Okay, you're in. Lead.
Sweet, there we go.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm probably gonna do a screen share. And I'll just walk through.
I don't hear your audio. Can you hear Tyler talk?
I can hear Tyler.
Okay, but I don't know if he could hear you through my computer or through your computer.
I'm probably hearing him through yours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my audio eventually.
How about now?
There you go.
Oh,
You know what? I'm gonna.
mute yours.
Just mute my
Yeah, just mute your computer. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm two computers.
Yeah, I'm two. So I'm gonna pop up Podio and share with you.
Wait, I'm not hearing your.
You have to hear me through here.
Okay.
So can you see my?
I can see your screen.
Or just,
Okay. So you
do you see Podio here?
Yeah.
Why has it got feedback, Tom?
It's his echo on.
Okay. Brian, does it sound like there's feedback on your part?
Yeah, there is. A little bit of an echo.
Actually, I need to mute. Let me see. There we go. It'll stop now.
What did you just do?
Muted yours. And now the echo should be gone.
Yep.
1, 2. What was the name of your company again? I want to try and pop into yours.
Yeah, Paradigm Real Estate Investment Group.
Oh, I think I left it. Okay, I'll just go to mine. Same thing. So, did you watch that video at all? The 30-minute video?
I watched one that was a couple minutes long. You went through a bunch of things and I checked out mentally. It was a lot. And then I got on, tried to dink around with it, couldn't figure out my way around. Sorry.
Yeah. No. So, basically what I like to tell people is Podio is like a spreadsheet, but a spreadsheet on steroids. And each app up here, see where you see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
So each app up here on the top is a different spreadsheet, so to say. You click into those, you have your campaign spreadsheet basically, and then you have an individual item, or you can think of a line on a spreadsheet. So now I'm like in an individual line, which is a different campaign. You can comment and do communication with people here on the right by, it's kind of like Twitter, just at somebody and talk to them, hit send. Now you can delegate tasks right there. Let me back out.
Hey, hey, Brian.
Yeah.
So go back, Ty, to where you were just at.
Because none of those apps show up at the top for me. They're just all on the left-hand side on the.
Can you share your screen?
How do I do that? Just
In
hit share?
Zoom, there's a little share button in the center.
It's green.
Little green share button on Zoom. Let's see.
Says it won't let me share with other participant is sharing.
I'll stop sharing. How about now?
Oh, it's not letting me do it. This is my girl's iPad. It's not mine.
Oh, so if you're on the iPad, it looks different. It will be on the sidebar, like you're saying.
Oh, okay. So
I got Podio pulled up on my computer, but I'm with you on the iPad.
Got it. Okay, so I'll share my screen again. Let's see.
I just didn't know if you could log into mine or whatever.
I left yours after I installed it, but
I got you.
I could. It's the same here though. You should have all the same apps. They'll just be on the sidebar of your iPad if you're looking there.
Yeah, it's on my computer, but
so go back to because I want Brian. This is one of the most important things to your business is Podio. This literally turns your business into a real business. Okay. So it's important that you get this stuff right, and it's important that this is done right. What I've seen in the past is that people will not do this stuff. They won't take the actions needed. And then you're basically, it would be like racing a Corvette against other cars and never shifting out of first gear.
yeah.
So go back, Ty, to what you were just at. So
Well, I'm going to start with seller leads. So
okay, that's fine.
I lined it up kind of linearly, kind of like a marketing funnel. So you have your seller leads, and then you have your offers, then your contracts, then your walkthrough sheets. And within your walkthrough sheets is where a property gets pushed to closing. So you have your leads all the way to closings. And you can think of them as buckets, and you're moving the leads from each app or bucket into the next step until they close. And there's automations in between those buckets to, do tasks for you and automatically push things along the funnel. So seller leads, offers, contracts, walkthrough sheets are the buckets. And then all these other apps like campaigns, marketing receipts, mass contact, and configuration are in addition to the main funnel. So like campaigns tracks your marketing campaigns that get attached to lead. That way you know where your lead sources are coming from. Trying to think where else we can go. I covered it so much in that video. I don't know where I should go.
Well, just go through just go through because he'll watch the videos, but if he's already seen it once and then watches the video, sink in better.
Mm-hmm.
Lead comes in the lead comes in the pipeline.
Yeah, so I'll start off like if I was Nexa. So Nexa is going to have a web form. Oops. Let's try that. Mine's off for some reason. Anyway, so they'll have their own link to a web form. I'm sure you've seen a web form before where it's just like first name, last name, and then all the information you want to collect. Once they hit submit on there, it gets dumped into your seller leads as a new line item like these.
Can he see your screen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll have a filled out lead with all of your contact info that the person filled in. They're all required fields on that intake form.
So back up. So Brian, what'll happen is in the morning, you will have an email. Okay, in the morning, during the days, whenever, you will have an email that you have a new lead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you won't have to come into Podio to this screen where he's at right now to see your leads. You will have an email that will have a clickable link to those leads as well. Every time a new lead comes in, you will get an email in. And the reason why this is important is you have to respond. You're in a market that's very, very aggressive. So the people that respond the fastest get the deals. So you can't wait until the next day to respond, right? That's why we use Answer One. They answer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When these leads come in, you got to jump on them quick.
Yeah. And Answer One's putting them in there for me, right?
Yes. Yeah. So see the page he's on right now?
Yep.
See,
I was trying to pull up another page, but Answer One is putting them in directly into that web form. They're basically working out of that web form because the questions are set up like the script questions. They'll basically read down. It's like, where's your first name? But it's, scripted in a way to sound right on the phone. They'll work their way down that. And then at the bottom, they'll finish out with their asking price and like a couple other closing questions and then submit it. And it automatically gets pushed in to your bucket, your seller leads bucket, and you'll get a task to review a new lead. Everything in here is task driven based on if something's created or updated.
Okay.
So let's click on that first lead there. So let's say this lead comes in.
Yeah. So say this is a new seller lead. You just got a task to look at it. So you pop in there.
So let's go through, go back up, go up. So notice that at the very top there, it says summary. 123 Main Street, Davenport is the seller, is the property that's, there's all the info, getting a hold of the seller. You just kind of go through each one of these.
Yeah.
So
this is all that info that you captured on your web form for contact info. Their mailing address, property address, they're all required, so they try to get them filled out the best they can. Here, where'd you hear about us? This is where you reference, if I go back up to the top, remember that campaigns app over here?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have all your different marketing types listed out there, all your different direct mail cards you're running, all your cold calling, RVM, stuff like that. That'll all be listed there. So now when an individual lead comes in, you're going to ask them, how did you hear about us? And you can link it to a campaign. That'll start tracking your campaign results, your response rates and stuff automatically as the seller lead moves into those different buckets down the chain. They'll keep carrying that. And then you keep going.
But so back up. So go up to the map right there.
Yep.
So this map, it automatically generates where this property's at. So you can click on the map if you want. You can do, so if you clicked on the map.
And then you can get street view.
Street view, you can see everything else that's going on. These are little tools to keep you from having to get in your car and drive to the property, right? You don't want to do any of that. You don't lead comes in, you don't drive to it, right? We don't need to do any of that.
Mm-hmm. Then you got some more property details from that web form. Hopefully the person or the caller, whoever put the lead in, collected beds, baths, and a couple other pertinent things of information. But all that's tracked here. You want to try and go back. If it's not filled in, talk to the seller and fill this out the best you can, because This is the seller lead is the initial item that sets everything up for as it moves down the chain.
Now we have Daisy call. Don't we have Daisy call the seller and have she fills it the rest of the way out?
I think so. Yeah.
So we have so what happens is when we get a lead in, if we're missing any important information, we have the VA call the seller and ask the seller the questions that we're missing.
Just to fill out this stuff.
Yeah. So if there's no beds or baths or anything like that, we don't do that ourselves. We just have the VA do that. So what you'll do, Brian, is probably once you hire your VA, you'll make sure they get the leads at the same as every time that a new lead comes in, your VA will get the lead as well. And your VA can go through and make sure all this stuff's filled out. If not, they'll know to call the seller and fill it out.
Okay.
Yep. So this is all just more tracking information on the property. Here, how quickly does the seller want to sell? It's just a motivation type of tracker. Reason for selling, if they gave one. Mortgage payoff, if they're willing to take the mortgage, that's noted there.
Jumping back, reason for selling is the most important question on this whole sheet. If the person says, well, I just really want to see what you guys will offer me, then that's not very motivated, right? We only work with motivated sellers. So if the person says, hey, I have cancer, I have 6 months to live, and if I don't sell this house, then my family's got to deal with, figuring out how to get rid of this house after I pass away. That's really motivated.
Sorry. So let's keep on going. One other thing while I'm up here, and I noticed it. So I'm in an individual lead with an individual seller. I can quickly text them right from Podio. If I type in SMS : and I can type whatever message I want and hit send.
So they don't have to put the number in or anything.
You don't have to pull out your cell phone and then have these people have your cell phone number. This will text them directly through a custom Podio phone number. And when they respond, the response gets logged right in their lead form. So everything gets kept in one. You come back here 9 months later, it's still there. And say you had like a different acquisitions guy. If he starts doing his texting through here and maybe he leaves in 3 months to find another job, his text will still be logged in there just for like continuity, keeping that all in one place. So here.
So let's stop for a second.
Yep.
Brian, questions. What is going through your mind right now?
What's going through my mind is I need someone to do that for me.
Yeah, for sure. You know how many times I filled out a lead form in Podio?
I have no clue.
Never have.
Yeah, it's like something for me that I would just get frustrated doing. Yeah. And I want to channel my efforts into, I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm off base with anything, please let me know. But I'd rather have someone do that for me than me do that myself. And I'm happy to pay him for it.
Most of the time it's automatic.
But
the call center.
Yeah, you're going to have, this is not something you're going to do. But the reason we're going through this is important because we're going to be talking about how to sort leads. And go scroll down a little bit, other way. So if you look at this deal and you say, okay, let's say this one has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, right? You see that there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See that? So let's say this was a bedroom, 1 bath house that was 450 square feet, and they were asking, $700,000.
Let me go to the bottom.
Would you put much time or effort into that?
Absolutely not.
No. So you would mark this lead as not interested.
At the very bottom, it fills in what the asking price is. And if you run comps and you figure out the ARV as $100,000 and they were asking 45, tells you what your max offer is for that house. All that's at the very bottom of the page.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Go back up. Why is our internet messing up?
I think it's my computer. So that's where I was. So now we're pretty much at the very bottom of the lead. There's a little communication logs, so you can see what your agent was doing over time based on their contact and touches with the lead. But right here, this stage of lead button is what pushes this lead to the next step. When it comes in, it's brand new and new. And then it's the lead manager or your job to basically give this an outcome and a status. You can mark it as good, and then it'll automatically task your agent or your VA to give them a call and follow up. Once they do that, it moves to this status automatically just to track it. Then if you push, once they negotiate with them, you can click push to offers app, and then it moves this lead to the next bucket. Right there.
Gotcha.
Copies all over and puts it into that next offers bucket. So then you have a new offer pending.
If the seller says, don't ever contact me again,
You mark it dead down here.
and it says seller
Okay.
opt out,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do both.
They're different. Seller opt out versus bad leader, different.
What if the seller says, just don't ever contact me, and you just put bad lead?
Either or, they're both kind of similar.
Okay.
Dead leads, like if contact info is bad. Opt out is pretty much like do not contact.
But so, Brian, the reason why this little box that he has highlighted with all these different things is important is this moves the lead to the next section.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
when
it
you
automatically does that, right?
automatically does that, when you click the button, somebody else just got an email to do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, as soon as you get the lead, your assigned agent that you set up in the back end gets a task. Hey, come check out this lead and go. They want, and
So like when he hires his VA,
Mhm.
He's going to have his VA do, let's see here. Other than I'm going to pull out some of this stuff. How would he add that person?
I don't want to confuse it, but see this configuration app here on the right side?
I don't have that on mine. I don't see it on mine at the top like that, but I see it on yours.
Is there an arrow like it's hidden? Like maybe is there like a little more button? It
No.
should be there.
Yeah, I don't have it.
You have to.
Yeah, you might have to add me in because it should be there. How about this? If you go on yours to activity here on the left,
I don't have that.
can you invite me?
I have a little box that says activity stream, and then there's a box for typing underneath it.
Okay. Do you see an invite button anywhere
I see a share button.
above that?
No,
Are you on the computer or the iPad again?
computer.
It should look really similar to mine.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I want to get added into his and I can see his.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might have to just log into his.
He needs to add me.
There's a My Connections box that's there. It says I can invite people.
Let me okay, how about this? On the very, very top left of the page, if you click on those
Yep.
3 lines on the blue bar,
Yep.
I just want to make
Yep.
sure you're in the right place. Go to acquisitions on that list. You have something that says
Okay.
acquisition.
Oh, there it is, brother.
Click that. Okay. Then go to
Okay, now-
activity
Yep.
and then invite. We'll add my email there.
Okay. What's your email?
T Smith.
I just clicked on your name.
Yeah, you just should be able to.
Yeah.
T Smith.
Sorry, I was just in the wrong place, I guess.
Yeah, so I think you might have been somewhere else.
Yeah, I was. I can see everything that you were talking about now.
Okay, that makes sense. So you must have just been.
I think I was just on the main page, I think.
There you go. Okay, so whenever you get into acquisitions, that's where you should start off. Go to that top bar, hop into acquisitions, then you're
Okay.
in that workspace.
Okay.
So on the very, very right is something you want to set up before you start pushing any leads to this. This is the very first thing you'll do is configuration and
Can I
set
click
up.
on it?
Click on that. Yep, I'm going in there with you.
Okay.
I already set up some of it. But where it says acquisitions agent, this is the person that's going to be responsible for dealing with the day-to-day of each lead that comes in. You can just remove yourself from that and add someone else.
That's going to be more of the transaction portion.
Okay. Maybe we can make that change now. We can invite someone.
He doesn't have that person yet.
Okay. Once they do, this is where you go to change that. And then every single time an automatic task comes out to do something with a lead, it'll go to that person.
So
Okay.
that's going to be your V.
What's that?
That'll end up being your VA. Will be the
Sorry, this is
acquisitions
cutting out.
agent.
Oh, sorry. Your VA will end up being that person. That's the person you'll put into that box there.
Acquisition agent. Okay.
That'll be your VA. Acquisitions manager, right below that,
Yep.
is the person that sees every single new lead notification. When a brand new lead comes in, the acquisitions manager gets a task to review it and decide whether to kill it right there or push it to the agent to get negotiate with.
Okay.
So that'll probably remain you.
Yeah.
Marketing manager below that gets tasked on any marketing campaign type tasks. You
Gotta be having the
yourself
VA
also.
do like a multitasking with that and the.
Yeah, they can do that. You can have your VA as the marketing manager also. And then acquisitions inspector. This is the person further on down the funnel. When you finally get this place under contract, this is the person that gets the task to go inspect it and make sure everything looks up to par and there's no like crazy renovation budget or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's where you change that.
Okay.
And down below, I pre-filled with our numbers, but this is how you configure back on that front page in the lead. I was on a thing that had the ARV and the asking price, and it spit out your max offer amount automatically.
Mm-hmm.
This is the numbers it's looking at to figure that out. So if you want to edit this to your market, that's what it's making that assumption based on.
Okay. Yeah, because our numbers are completely different.
Yeah, and you can change them right there. I'll go back to acquisitions. I'll go back into seller leads. You don't have one. Let's see if your form's up and running. I'll give you your web form. So if you go up to the top and you go to seller leads up here.
Yep.
Click on it. And then there's a little wrench below that. See that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There. Does it say web form on there?
It doesn't.
Is it a big menu or a small one like mine?
Menu's not popping up on it.
It should pop up a little. If you hit that wrench, a little drop-down menu should come up.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Web form. If you click web form, it'll bring you to a new page.
Okay.
And then on the right side of that page, there's a link to the web form highlighted in blue.
Yeah, the shareable link.
Yeah, that's what you give to the call center. And if you click on it, you can see what your web form looks like. It's basically like a script intake form.
I got you.
They come up?
Yep.
Okay. So as soon as someone fills that out, hits submit, it automatically pumps in a lead to seller leads and starts delegating those tasks. So that should be the basis of seller leads. Seller lead comes in, you review it, assign your agent using that button on the seller lead. And then eventually you'll have some communication back and forth on the right side using the comment box.
Okay.
And you'll push your lead to an offer using that button on the page. So now you'll have an offer. And this is where I'm actually going to push one through. That way you can follow it real quick. Sorry, just these are required because the call center would skip them if not.
Yep, no problem.
So what I just did, I just manually put a lead in, but it's the same exact thing as if someone put one in from the web form. So say the call center just put a lead in. You just got an email that a new lead came in and it needs reviewed and push. I just heard your phone go off with it.
Yeah.
So now you pop into that lead, review everything. You can come down to assign it to your agent. Click that. Now, task, make contact with that lead. I don't know if you can see live popping up. Once your agent pops in here, they're going to use this drop down for agent actions. Log what they're doing. They can log if they called them manually by picking up the phone, or if you see here, it says touch one, send auto email and text. If they click that, it puts the person in that drip sequence. I don't know if Matt talked about it. An automatic drip sequence for.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's touched on it a little bit.
So if the agent clicks touch one, send auto email and text, it'll put that lead in an automatic over 45 days email and text drip. So in 3 days, they'll get one that says, hey, interested in buying your house, blah, blah, blah. I can show you those if you want. And then if they don't respond to that, they'll get another one in 7 days on and on until 45 days is up. And then it'll mark the lead automatically dead if they made no contact.
Does it automatically do that, or we got to go in there manually?
You have to manually go in and push it to touch one to start it, and then it does it itself through all the rest of the time.
Okay.
So someone has to make a decision to put it into that auto drip by clicking touch one, but after that, it does it by itself. And if they respond to an email or respond to a text, you'll get a task. So you'll get an email once they respond.
Yeah.
But someone has to do the initial, push off to touch one. From there, so you get a response, they're interested in selling, you go back and forth, you're ready. You push that to the offers app, and it automatically just created an offer, and I can click there on the comments. Now I'm in my different bucket. I'm in my offers bucket. My info pulled over. And what this is, all these fields are used to automatically build your purchase agreement. So you fill these out. You can punch in your max offer amount. Say it was $20,000. Your earnest money, maybe 19. Set all your inspection period dates and stuff like that. Closing date if you know it. If not, leave that blank. And then you click. Here's another automation section. Number one, it'll generate the purchase agreement. See how it just attached a file. And then it just made my purchase agreement for that house using all that stuff I just filled out. And then this is an e-signature document. So in the next step, once you just check out that document, make sure it looks right. If you click step 2 in the trigger, it'll email it to your seller lead using the contact info that's in the lead for an e-signature, and it puts a timeline for them to sign it. And if they don't sign it, it reminds them automatically, stuff like that. Or you can push one of these other buttons if you're going to do it by another method, like a paper delivery, if the person isn't tech savvy or something, or maybe you're going to call them. You just notate that there. Then if they sign their end, it'll automatically get marked as accepted and re-uploaded to this offer. So it's kept there. And then it'll automatically create a contract. So if I and that, you'll probably get an email to sign your end of it, and the other person will get an email to sign their end. I don't think it'll work because I just put a fake email in, but you might get the email. Once they sign, it gets pushed to accepted. And now this item is a active contract. So now this offer just got moved up to the next bucket, and we're in the contract bucket. So things will sit in the contract bucket until closing. This is like the very last step before closing. You can mark your closing dates, and there's reminders here when closing dates are coming up. That way you know. And you just kind of, all this stuff is just tracking your final numbers before it gets pushed to close. That way it's all in one place.
Mm-hmm.
You can mark your buyer if you have one, who your appraisal company, all that stuff. Inspector. See how it pulled in you as the inspector right there automatically.
Yep.
All these different like pest and utility inspectors, these are pulling off of the contact app. I think you might have put one in there.
Yeah.
Did you
Over
make a
fellow
contact
title.
at one point? Yeah.
Did I
So
what?
the more contacts you put in, you'll be able to reference them and automatically send them like inspection requests. So say you put in a gas inspector, like an HVAC company, you'll type them in, click them, and you can say send inspection request email, and they'll get a thing that says, hey, I need a gas inspection at 123 Main Street. I'm closed. My inspection period is between this and this. Please get that done for me. Just by clicking that button, it'll do that for you. Same thing with any of these other trades. So your team is ready to go out and walk through the place to make like a renovation estimate if you need it, or just judge the overall grade of the property. There's one last thing, push to the walkthrough app right here. So now, again, moving up another bucket to the walkthrough app. This is where all the, let me see. Yeah, this is where your budget gets extremely detailed for figuring out this deal makes sense. It pre-fills some of the redundant things like closing costs and stuff from that setup we did. Remember in the configuration app, we did that setup for those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So those get filled in. And then you're going to come down and you're going to estimate each of these trades on the property. Say it needs a electrical panel or something, you'll put in that much. If you have to do a bunch of contracting work, you put in however much you think that's going to cost. You can have some pre-rehab specs. You can have some post-rehab specs, and it's just tracking it. That way, once you close, it's all in one place, and you know what your plan was for that property.
It's a solid checklist, though.
Yeah, it pretty much runs you through everything. Once you fill out the budget the best you can, you're going to go back up to the top. And again, there's a little trigger section with the automations. You push it, and it's going to create your budget document. So you might get an email, I'm not sure. Go. So now I filled out my budget, what I thought the rehab was going to be, all my closing costs, and if I click into that, double your logo a little bit, but my budget is right there in a nice little spreadsheet. I'll make your logo smaller so it looks right.
Okay, thank you.
But all your costs rehab are right. You can see like your overall and sale costs, all that stuff, just in one place. And
I
then
like that.
once you close, right here in the walkthrough bucket, that's the very last step. We mark it as closed, and then it updates all the way up the chain to mark everything as closed and property acquired, and it marks the closing under your original marketing campaign. So
Perfect.
pretty much just going bucket to bucket and pushing them along.
Okay.
Hey, Brian.
Yep.
So there are training videos on each one of these sections that go through each detail of each one, right, Ty?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you hire your virtual assistant, part of her orientation or onboarding is going to be to watch videos. So she understands how to do this. So not like you're going to have to know, like I want you to know this stuff, but you don't have to teach her how to do it. Let us teach her through the video.
That helps me a lot.
Sense?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is go into one of the leads real quick, Ty. I just want to make sure I emphasize one thing. Okay, move your your screen, your pictures. Okay, so Brian, see on the right hand column over here where Tyler's scrolling.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you what I said again. I'm going to keep referring to this. 75% of the deals you do going to be from deals that you talk to them today and you close them in 6 months because you got it through the follow-up, right? Well, when this person, let's say you drop RVM on somebody in 6 months, you will not remember every one of these leads. The only to go back and review the notes you've already taken. So if you use Podio correctly, you will have all of this stuff filled out like it should be. And on the right-hand side, that all those notes will be there. So when you talk to the seller or the acquisition guy talks to the seller and the seller like, hey, the seller really wants 80,000 for this. They want to move out of town and they talk to their son-in-law and their son-in-law says it's worth 80 grand. Here's some details on the house. It's got, updated roof, but the windows are old. The house needs a new paint job, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is going to be in those notes. If you do this right, when that acquisitions person, which is going to be you in the beginning, when you're talking to the seller, do not be in a situation where you can't jot these notes down and put them in Podio, because you will need this information to go back when you buy this thing down the road. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. And I do like that. It's a nice little tracking system for you, so nothing's, no stones left unturned there.
Yeah. So, but the biggest thing I can tell you is, I'm just emphasizing this because your personality is like mine. You will have to be disciplined to do this. Now, you're only going to do this for a short period of time. You get your VA in there and you get an acquisitions person. The VA is going to do most of the work on this Podio, but your acquisitions person will have to get, to make sure they're adding in. Like my acquisition, now think about keeping this in mind. What personality style is your acquisitions person going to be?
I think you said C.
C is like a personal assistant. The acquisitions person have the same personality as you.
Okay, gotcha.
So they're not going to enjoy paperwork. They're not going to enjoy filling in computer work. Okay, I'm just telling you how it's going to be. My acquisitions guy is really, really good. Like he does a ton of acquisitions for us. But I had to literally say, listen, his name's Eric. I had to tell him at one point, he wasn't filling any of this stuff in. And I had to tell him, Eric, your commission only gets paid on a deal if we go back and review and the Podio notes are there. If there's no Podio notes, then you don't get paid. And until I did that, he didn't fill stuff out.
Yeah. Yep. How much do you typically pay your acquisition guys? I know that your guys doing a lot. Is it a certain percentage of each deal? Is it an hourly rate?
I give him $1,000 a deal.
Okay.
For everyone we buy.
Commission only.
So he doesn't get paid any. He doesn't get paid any salary. He gets paid nothing unless he closes.
Okay.
But he can also close 10 deals in a week and make a ton of money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So so the biggest thing is this Podio. You're probably looking at this and you're so kind of enamored with, oh man, I got to remember to do this. Oh man, I don't know if I'm going to do that right. There's so many moving parts. what you're looking past is like this thing is such a powerful tool. This will either make this can take this Podio powerhouse, this Podio system can take a guy that should be making $100,000 a year and turn him into $1 million a year earner. That's how powerful this is. It's that important. It's a 10x your income. So if you do it right and are disciplined with it, it can set you up big time.
That's what I need.
You are missing out on so much money. I can't even describe how much money. I've got over $100,000 invested in my Podio system. Now I didn't do that because I thought it would be fun to spend the 100,000. I did it because it makes me millions of dollars.
Right.
Makes sense?
Yeah, 100% it does.
And you can always, if you want to play around with it, you can put fake leads in and test and, try out pushing them through the different steps. That way it doesn't matter if you make a mistake or anything. You can, learn it. Same thing.
Okay.
So.
I wish I had this in the beginning when I first started. I missed out on millions of dollars for the 5-6 years that I didn't have it.
It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And most people don't have it. So